And welcome each and every one of you to this, the Millions Online Mega High Roller Final Table. This is the 100k. There are 6 left. And Henry, what an evening of fun we have ahead of us.
Dempsey, is there a name on that list of players at the final table that you're surprised to see? Because I'm like, there isn't one for me, and I mean, we just got a star-studded lineup for this 100k. No surprises that the best in the world came out for this one, and let's go. A little, 7-figure payday on stream. How about that?
Yeah. 1.3 up top. And Henry, obviously, those of you who watched last night, you'll know it went in quite well. We had a very elongated bubble period, but for those that weren't here, Henry, it was kind of interesting, wasn't it? We got down to the final 7, which was the final table, very quickly, far faster than we expected, I think. And then we had kind of 2 hours of Addamo kind of running the show a little bit, but not insanely so, and just everyone playing really good poker. But it was Florian, of course, who ended up prospering the most. But eventually we did lose, of course, Jan Zerens in 7th, didn't we?
Yeah, that huge hand between first and second, Addamo and Florian, who's obviously now our chip leader, with top 2 versus, was it top and third pair on the turn? So 2 pair versus 2 pair on the turn. All the money went on the river. So Florian coming in with over half the chips in play, and then Jans just couldn't get anything going. The high roller poker meme lord did his best, James. I think he played like 3 hands total on the final table in the space of 2.5, 3 hours, and just couldn't find a spot, man. Couldn't find a spot. So do feel for him, but hey, we got these 6 players to focus on. We got $1 million payday.
Not just not just those 6 players. As promised last night, guys, we are bringing in the big guns for this, the 100k final table. And I am very happy to say that this evening, Henry, joining us in commentary is the man, the myth, the legend, Patrick Leonard. And we've got Pads there with us. All right, Patrick, how's it going?
Good to be here. Good, representing the orange colour of party poker, All Brits, by the way. 3 Brits in the booth. We have to like that. Being represented well here.
There we go. We're trying. Not so many on the final table though, Patrick. What's happened to the British dominance in poker from 10 years ago?
No, I mean, I think it is quite interesting that a lot of the field was American, I think, right? I think a lot of the field was American. There wasn't so much like Scandinavians. There wasn't so much British people. There wasn't so much. It was mostly the American, very dominated by America and Canada. Whereas if you see like a 10k or 25k, you'll see loads of Scandinavians, loads of British guys. But when you get to that next level of buy-in, you don't really see anyone else apart from the Americans and the Canadians showing up, unless you see a satellite qualifier here or there kind of thing.
Right.
It's quite interesting.
On that note, we only had one of those Americans in the case of Jake Schindler making the final table. So we'll have a look at the tournament info and see where we're at. But yeah, he did get through. But this is kind of what we have in store for this evening. We're still at the 25-minute blinds, I think, for this level and the next. We're at 50, 100. We see there Florian, of course, at chip leader. 1.3 million up top. Everyone now guaranteed 225k. And if we do take a quick look at that chip count, you'll see just how far ahead Florian is, courtesy of that double up. Look at that, 3 times the chips in second, Patrick. That's a spot you want to be in, right?
Yeah, I mean, they played that. I was watching the stream yesterday. They played that enormous pot, right, where Addamo emptied the clip on the turn in the river for that huge pot. It was very. If people haven't seen it yet, I would definitely recommend re-seeing the hand. It was a spectacular hand for sure.
Yeah, when overbet create that monstrous pot, gives Florian this huge lead. And we'll have a little look at the payouts. Going to get the idea of what the kind of ladder situation is coming into this final, because obviously, Patrick, the someone like Addamo is going to have to be a bit careful with these pay jumps the way they are. Obviously, we see 225 for 6th, but get to 3rd, you more than double your money. So is that what we're likely to see? Florian kind of running the show to start with?
Yeah, well, I don't think so, actually. I think if you look at usually in these final tables, once you get to the final table, it's like, oh, wow, I'm at the final table. I need to be like very careful and appreciate the situation I'm in. But the smallest page up is always between 6th and 5th. So when you get into the money, then the next page up, it's always very small. So if you look at 6th and 5th here, the difference is less than half a buy-in. Like, it's very small in the grand scheme of things. So it's actually a spot where Florian maybe can't leverage his chip advantage right now. It'll maybe more when you get free-handed and the page ups start being 500k, 800k, 1.3 million. Maybe that's when you can start using your stack to its power a little bit more. I think he won't have as much ridiculous fold equity or can bully people in those kind of situations, I think.
Yeah, well, let's just jump into it then. And we see the seat and draw, of course, if you weren't watching last night. We're continuing where we were. So Addamo is at least downwind of Florian, the chip leader. And really, we got 3 players here, just over over 20 bigs for Jake and Vogelsang and under 20 for Mikita. So, well, we'll just see how these things go.
Yeah, one of the interesting things here is that let's say Mikita doubles up, he still doesn't have that big of a stack, so he's not really incentivized too much to gamble either. Florian has such a big stack where no one can really get close to him apart from Addamo, so it'll be interesting to see.
And Patrick, we've been watching Addamo a lot over this last year. Doesn't strike me as someone who's inclined to play the kind of, okay, I'm in the middle here, I should probably be a bit more passive. I just get the sense that he's going to be aggressive against Florian, despite the fact that he's obviously the one player who could bust him.
Yeah, I mean, also, if he doubles up through Florian, he's going to be the chip leader too, So there's also... Right. It's kind of okay for Addamo to be gambling a little bit more as a second in chips, whereas, say, Artur with 3 million, if he doubles up, he's still third in chips or second in chips. He doesn't go to being that chip leader who can put the pressure on. So Addamo actually can even, in theory, be a little bit wilder as well anyway. And obviously with his play style, that suits him down to the ground for sure.
Yeah. Henry, we don't have to give Addamo a license, do we, to get a line? But Pat has given it the okay. Got the green light.
Young man speeding, man. Young man speeding. He's just always in there. Always in there with the
Artur's going for... Oh,
yeah. Not emptying this one, Pads, on this river.
No, I expect him to give up. He can bluff a hand like ace 10 with the club, ace jack with the club, ace 9 with the club. He would open pre-flop, so jack 10 with the club. So
does indeed give it up, and we're saying season quick change. Jake Schindler up to 3.7 gets him into that third place, but obviously these huge gaps between the big stacks. Good evening, everyone watching. We'll try and catch up with chat shortly, but yes, there's all sorts going on this evening. The giveaways, we'll get to them. I see a lot of people asking about the free roll. We do have the Patrick Leonard free roll coming up for you guys in a little over 2 hours. We're giving away a $530 WPT 500 seat for the winner, and there's $1,000 in cash paid out to the top 30% in the field. It is, of course, password protected. And stay tuned. That password will be revealed in the very near future. And add a bonus, Patrick, as well. I gather we're doing the knock Patrick out, get a seat. I think it's first 3 people who knock you out. So target on your back, $55 target.
First 3 people who knock me out. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I will be attempting to take it down. Obviously, what do I get if I win? That's what I want to know.
Well, you get a WPT 500 seat. I mean,
okay, sure. Then I'm not gonna go out easily. Then I'm gonna fight for it.
All right.
Interesting here. Addamo could choose to free bet this hand.
And Patrick, we see that quite often with these kind of rag kings, right? They're pretty bad hands to take post flop. Look at this. You're spot on. He does indeed go for the 3-bet. And sort of the king blocks a lot that continues, doesn't it? And the king 3 just garbage anyway. So is that why that's used?
Yeah. Christoph is typically going to either shove or fold as a response here. So your playability of your hand doesn't matter too much because you're not going to go post flop that often. So it's better to have a blocker like, say, king 3 or ace 3 than, let's say, 10-9 suited, let's say. Christoph does fold. And if you can make him fold a hand, like 9 pips stronger than yours, it's a pretty big win.
It certainly is.
Often you free bet king 9 to make someone fold king 10, like the next pip, but Addamo goes for the king 3 to make them fold 9 pips stronger. That's it's more in his region.
I'm really looking forward to him on this final table. Hopefully stays with us for a long time, because he's always fun to watch. Artur then with 2 10s under the gun, popping up Jake king queen suited on the button.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jake's not going to do too much calling. It's going to be, usually when they call, they have king queen suited. It's a very often hand to be in there.
Artur with top set slides it on over to Jake. Have a go at this, my friend. Have a stab. He doesn't. Checks back 9 on the turn, gives a gut shot on the rainbow board. I guess, Patrick, this is a spot where you can kind of expect to get some action. Artur with the 2 10s, you kind of up against a hand, like you say, king queen suited, king jack suited.
Yeah, I think he'll do a lot of checking here. If he has like ace king, there's no real reason to bet. There's not many hands Artur really is super enthusiastic about betting, to be honest. Jake going for the bluff against ace king, ace jack, ace queen, etc. So I assume we're just going to see a call from Artur. Yeah.
Pick on the end. Is it a one and done most of the time here, Patrick, or do we have to follow up?
It's quite a tough spot. Artur probably shouldn't have a hand like Jack 9 or 7-8 suited. He should fold those hands pre-flop. So there's not really that many hands you can really target bluffing. So I think he's going to just give up. You sometimes beat King Jack as well. You have some small showdown value,
right,
which potentially, but yeah. You've kind of already folded out ace king on the turn, ace queen on the turn. You've already achieved that on the turn, so not a bad spot for Mikita to shove in the small blind. We saw Addamo yesterday opening, like queen 2 off from middle position. Mikita's by far the short stack. If he gets a shove through here, he's going to pick up around a third of his stack. Like not necessarily Jack 8, but he should shove very wide there as the shortest stack, I think.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. We saw that yesterday. There's quite a lot of punishment over Addamo's opens, and he was opening very wide, Patrick. I know you said you were watching a bit of it towards the end last night, but I think there was some like 8-4 offsuits from mid position and whatnot going into the opening range. All right, Henry, I guess we lost you for a minute there, but I think are you back with us? Sound sorted?
It was so weird, right? It felt like when you just go to like a party and you engage in a conversation with, people that you don't know and they just completely blank you. I was responding to something Patrick was saying. I was responding to something that you were saying. And then there was zero response. Like, hang on, am I getting like just completely blanked on air here, or is my mic not working, man? Yeah. No, thank you for having me back in, boys. I appreciate it.
This is actually...
We would never blank you, Henry.
This is interesting spots. Artur called the flop bets and then check. He's thinking about bluffing. He has a lot of hands like Jack 10 backdoor flush draw, even like 10-8 suited backdoor flush draw. He has a lot of bluffs. So if he has Queen 6-2, can be bluffing a lot. He's saying he has an ace only. Mm-hmm. Interesting spot.
And Patrick, in a funnel table scenario like we have here, are his value bets on the river gonna be? I guess what I'm saying is he's going to value bet probably less thin than usual, right? So if he is going to bluff, kind of repping an ace, maybe it makes more sense.
For that size, and it's a very large, size to use. Yeah, this will be interesting. Probably see a raise here, 3.5x or 3x or around that region. It's a hand which you don't really want to limp call. Has a blocker. Christoph has a lot of ICM pressure on him, so I would imagine we see a raise here. Yeah, Christoph should just call probably. if you shove, he never folds a better hand, right? Never calls a worse hand.
Novity asking what happened on the river, the Queen 6 of clubs. Artur hit him with the B150, I believe. It's like 1.2 into 800 or so on the river.
Artur being quite respectful of this Jack 9x. Like, there's going to be so much Queen 10s, King Queens, 10 8s, Jack 10s, Jack 8s, 9 10s, 9 8s that it just hits Christoph quite well. He probably doesn't have like 5-4 offsuit, right? He doesn't have like 6-5 offsuit, so he does quite well around this Jack 9x texture.
So is it safe to say, Pads, that Jacob and Christoph are just in the biggest IC open cage here? Or are the pay jumps kind of so insignificant at the start? Well, not insignificant, but, you know, relative to the buy-in, pretty small, that we're not too caged compared to other FTs?
I'm not sure if you remember the last 100k final table where like Dan Shack and Sam Greenwood and these guys were on. Sam Greenwood made like a really big call with like, he had like a similar stack to like Jake and Christoph, and he made a really big call with pocket sevens, and everyone was like, oh wow, that's crazy. But the pay jump is just so small between 6th and 5th. It's like literally not absolutely insignificant, but it's so small compared to the other pay jumps. So kind of gambling a little bit around this time is not too bad. If you can go from 3 million to 6 million and give yourself a chance to very likely secure a top 3 spot and be in a position to get a top 2 spot, you can definitely gamble at this stage of the tournament. Like I said, a lot of people, they make the and they want to stick around and the Twitch is on, but at a 100k final table, they're just going to be trying to make good decisions. But if you're at a WPT 1k final table, there's a good chance people are playing too tight in this spot, you know, whereas it might be good to actually push those guys around there. But I think we're going to see these guys not playing too tight at this exact stage of the tournament.
Yeah, certainly. And Patrick, I see a question in the chat that I was kind of wondering myself. Do you know much about Florian? Because he's the sort of one guy we don't really know that well. Obviously, he got in through the satellite, but I'm assuming relatively well known in the higher stakes circuits.
No, actually, he's not. I mean, think about the best way to phrase this. I know him. I know who he is and what he plays, etc. But it probably wouldn't be reasonable for me to like say it in front of everyone right now, because I believe the other guys at the final table probably don't know him. But he's definitely not. I think it's safe to say he's definitely not like regularly playing these type of fields. And I believe he got in for a 109 phase to a 1k to a 10k. So like he started towards the bottom end of the tree. But he played he's not played scared at all. He's been free betting a lot and calling free bets and going after people and using his image to his advantage, you know. So
yeah, certainly tussled a lot with Addamo last night, didn't he, Henry? We saw a number of pots. Not obviously the big one, but we saw a lot more than that, didn't we?
We're gonna see
I mean that spot that Addamo put him in, yeah, for sure. It was I said it's the biggest spot of Florian's career. With top 2, chat was just like, yeah, easy call. Yeah, it is an easy call, but still biggest spot of your career.
Yeah, but I was just impressed because at the start of the final, he kind of had a very even stack with a lot of other players and worked his way up to having kind of 8 million through a series of pots against Addamo out of position to then end up getting the double up and having half the chips in play was very, very impressive. But as you say, Patrick, someone who's not necessarily as experienced playing for these sort of sums.
I mean, the thing is, like, if you translate the chips into dollars, like that pot was worth more than $1 million, you know. So like he faced basically like a $400,000 river bet, you know. Like we obviously can't translate chips into dollars, but Addamo went on the river for essentially $400,000, and you know, this guy's ABI is like, you know, $80. Like it's a big river bet to face. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, crazy.
Great to see.
Artur's the kind of guy who likes the C3.
Artur's the kind of guy who likes to win a lot of money playing online as well. Henry, I was kind of looking through the notes we got sent through earlier. Obviously, we always get a little briefing. And Artur, obviously, we know him so well now. He's in all of these. But I looked, and it was online earnings in 2020 only was over $5 million. Over $5 million in just 1 year online. Insane.
Do you know?
I mean,
Do you know what
crushing.
do you know what the buy-ins were? I imagine players now are getting like 7 million a year in buy-ins on, especially on some of the sites. You can easily get 400k a day. Do you know what I mean? On like, even in one tournament, you see people with like 200k. Very often, it's wild. And he plays he. The best thing about Artur, I think he's a big grinder. He plays a lot. You know, he also. What this is not going to be such a big hand, so I can talk about it, but one of my favorite things in poker is James will know through Blonde Poker, but I love to be on obscure poker forums from different communities and translate them all, and I have them on my homepage. I have Artur's blog. Whenever I wake up, I get my coffee, I go to his Gypsy Team blog, it's the name of the website, and I read about how his Sunday goes, and I do the same with Lars Luzak in Finland, or there's some French guys. I have all of these obscure different poker forums in these different languages, and I love to see, because they open up a little bit more because it's not in English. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you get to see how they're actually thinking, and it's actually really interesting. Whereas on 2+2, you don't see, let's say, Addamo having a 2+2 block, because he knows everyone will read it. So tip of the day is to go to the biggest forums on different countries and try to read the high stakes blogs of players. It's actually fascinating how they're very open with what they say. It's a
fantastic.
It's a good study. It's a good study too. I read Lars Luzak yesterday was playing a 10k final table, and he went through every single hand, what he did and why he did it. And you can read this kind of information. It's pretty good,
wow.
From people who play such high stakes.
Yeah. We've been saying, and we've had Icon before, and Jason have said about people coming in asking where to start. Watching these streams as well. Watching especially we're starting from level 1, so to be able to step into the minds of some of the best in the business, where they are breaking down hands and explaining their thought process, it's obviously can only have a positive effect.
Even better, their blogs always start as low-stakes players. So if you have the time, you can read through 100 pages of where these guys started. Let's say Artur started, or Lars Luzak, whoever it may be. You can start their journey when they're playing $10 tournaments and see their progression and try to find their post in the thread, which is pretty interesting, I think. This hand is going to go... This is going to be a dangerous hand. Kind of surprised Christoph defended pre-flop.
Yeah,
are we going to see a big bet on the turn here from Addamo?
I think
900k.
I don't think you necessarily need to. I think you want to bet a size in which makes like a 7 of spades indifferent, or like a 3 indifferent, or a 5 indifferent. You don't necessarily need to try to make a jack fold, right? You're not targeting a jack, you're targeting a 5. So like this sizing seems perfect. Let's say Christoph has 7-3 like he has, or 6-5 offsuit. You don't need to bet 900k against these hands. I think, choose what size and you think a 5 folds, essentially, and then structure your range around that.
It's funny, Patrick, you're talking about the blogs, because obviously I'm well aware of yours, and I know not everyone necessarily will be, but I've just had a look, Patrick, to see when yours kicked off. You made your first post on Blonde Poker in the Best in the Business diary thread, September 2010, where you were talking about playing.
$5
like
heads
2-5, 1-2. Yeah.
I think I was playing $5 heads of sitting goes at the time. Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
But this is what I mean.
Brilliant.
There's a lot of forums out there. The poker strategies, the Gypsy Teams, the Poker Academy on .fr, like the Spanish forums, Poker Red. I think there is. It's actually, I think it's fascinating to see. This is really interesting. Artur limping and Florian going for 4.5x with a6, showing that he's really prepared to push the action. It's a hand which is very easy to check back, right? In the big blind, see a flop, try to flop a flush draw or some equity. And Artur going for the call as well, which is pretty big.
Yeah, well. Big spot.
Very interesting. I think we're just going to see a call.
Boring turn card in the deck, boys and girls. Just hoping the 5 of hearts would roll off, but Addamo folded it.
I wonder what
Yeah.
Florian thinks Artur has, like what he's limping with, calling a bet with. Maybe like a king queen, maybe like an ace 10.
You think he'd be a little bit surprised to see Jack 10 offsuit?
Maybe it feels like a hand which you might just want to raise fold. Jack 10, like you don't necessarily want to limp. It's like quite a nice steal, you know, make the small blind fold queen jack off or whatever. Interesting, yeah, turn bet. That was an interesting hand, I think, even though it wasn't too big, but...
Well, Artur chipping up, separating himself from the rest of the pack. And James, if you have a little look, mate, in the top right-hand corner of your screen.
Oh. Haha! We're giving it away, Henry. We're giving it away. The password for tonight's free roll is Pads Rock, because that's what he is, guys. He never plays a hand. Pads Rock is the password for tonight's free roll on Party Poker. We are giving away a WPT 500 seat, as well as $1,000 in cash. Please do head on over to Party and get registered. It starts in 2 hours' time. So wherever you are, you've got 2 hours to get in there. 1 hour late reg. You have $1 optional rebuys, of course. Pads has also got a target on his head. The first 3 people who knock out Pads this evening will win a $55 Day Legends ticket on top of everything else given away. So best of luck to those of you getting involved. I'm a bit upset because I was in there, Henry. I was the second person registered in this tournament. I wasn't going to give the password away, but you've highlighted it. I thought this is my chance to finally cash something.
You know, the other thing as well, Debs, is Pads was in a world of pain as you were reading out a password because Addamo opened from under the gun. Mikita effectively jammed, and then Vogelsang folded ace queen o. Whereas had Addamo not ruined the fun by being a bit loosey-goosey from UTG, we could have seen the first player hit the showers.
I actually think he could have still called potentially that spot. Like, I think it's a spot where Mikita's going to have, you know, ace 10, ace 5 suited, king queen suited, you know, even a hand like queen jack suited is a fine rejam there against Addamo's known for opening extremely wide. So it's a good spot for Mikita to reshove. So ace queen plays, you know, pretty well. So yeah, I thought he would call.
He's solving it.
I thought. No, I'm trying to type in the password, but it doesn't accept my password. Not sure what that's about. Maybe.
You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
Maybe I'm in, boys. I'm in, and girls.
All right. I'll tell you who else is in. Okay. Jeff Gross Poker in the chat saying James Henry Pads Party Poker TV. What a crew! Loving the commentary. 1.3 mil up top. Is that it? Is that just 1.3 million, boys? Is that all we've got for today?
The 1.3 million. Yeah, nice to have Jeff with us. Of course, was with us last night as we played our way down to the final table. JG couldn't resist stepping in, watching this. Pads, I have to say, I'm having a little giggle to myself here. I'm reading some of your early posts on that on your sort of diary.
Don't share it. Don't share it. I went back over it like a week ago and read it all. Actually, it's funny. It's funny to look back. Yeah,
guys, you should check it out over on Blonde Poker in the diaries and let me get this right. The diaries and blogs, best in the business. It's a good read.
It was.
You see the development of your Pads. You see like you say, you started off playing these small stakes, heads up, sit and goes, talking about obviously being in employment as well at the time and all that, and just the chart, the progress from there to where you are now is worth a read for anyone.
Could see an all in here from the big blind. King 5 suited, quite a nice hand to shove with. It's quite similar to ace 5 suited. You have equity against queens, jacks, 10s. You block kings, you block ace king. It's a hand which you often see king 5, king 6, king 7 shoving. So we could see a raise from Mikita and a shove from Christoph here. It's hard for Mikita to call many hands all in versus a shove, right? Like ace 9 off, do you really want to call a shove? And ace 9's pretty strong hand out of all the hands you're raising. So king 5's a pretty nice hand to shove with here. I wouldn't be super surprised to see an all in. Call's obviously okay too.
Just again folding out some of those hands that have us slightly outpipped.
King queen off has to fold versus a shove, right? King jack off, king 10 off. It's like a It's a nice hand to do it with. King 7's just slightly better because when you have a 7, he calls pocket 7s versus the all-in, but he never calls pocket 5s versus the all-in, so King 7's like a little bit more powerful, but yeah. Dangerous flop for Mikita there.
Yeah, 10-9-6, couple of hearts against the big blind peel. Mikita with the king of hearts. Happy to check this one back, see what goes down. 10 repeats, brings clubs for Vogelsang.
Interesting one. The thing is, you never get a better king to fold, right? Like King 8's a gut shot, King Jack's never folding, King Queen's never folding, Ace King's never folding, I don't think. So betting King X is not really that efficient. You don't really achieve too much, yeah.
Yeah, it does indeed check. Like you say, Pat, I think you're right. It makes sense.
Could go for a bet, Mikita here. I think it's fine. You get called by, you know, a gut shot, a queen jack, a king queen.
Interesting one. Club on the river. Vogelsang with the flush. Mikita with the ace of clubs. But I guess in a pot this small, that's not as relevant.
Well, when you have an ace and a king, it's very unlikely that Christoph is bluffing. If you had, like, let's say ace 5, you know, you block some like 5-4 with a club or like 4-7 with a club, whatever it may be. But with ace king, he's never going to bluff with an ace. Interesting that Christoph decided to check the river. I don't really understand it because you'd expect Mikita to bet a 9 on the turn or like jacks on the flop, or like I'm not sure what he was going for a check raise against, you know? It's kind of an intriguing one. Do you think he was going for trying to make Mikita bluff something, or I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's just obviously trying to induce something, but you see Mikita with easily enough hand to check back.
Interesting. That was a very interesting hand.
Unless he just thinks that Mikita's going to have a lot of double delayed C bets in that spot and will go for some thin value with some of his more marginal value hands on the river. He's got to have some one street hands there, right? That don't want to bet flop turn but are going to go small on rivers. So I guess having flushes in our river checking range makes sense. I could be completely wrong, obviously.
Yeah, I would just expect Mikita to bet a 9 on the turn. Like if he had, you know, 10s and 9s when there's a double flush draw out, a gut shots out, like a 9 just feels natural to bet on the turn.
Yeah, I agree.
And if he has like bottom pair, if he rivered like a pair of 4s, whatever it was, he's probably going to just check like ace 4 rather than going for thin value, but he'll probably call when you bet, you know? So I don't know. I'm just saying how I think it.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. I mean, Enkel in the chat saying he thinks that Christoph was trying to bluff catch the river with second nut flush there. So, you know, everyone's entitled to weigh in.
I think he's actually correct. I think he was trying to induce a bluff rather than the value bet because there's no real logical value bets, but there is some hands you could bluff, like let's say queen jack off. If Mikita didn't want to like bet fold queen jack on the flop or bet fold queen jack on the turn because he has so much equity, overcards, straight draws, he may bluff the river against king high ace high. So checking the river to induce bluffs rather than to induce bluff catches himself could make sense, because what will Mikita call when he bets? Maybe he thinks there's more EV in allowing Mikita to bluff and then use your hand as a bluff catcher rather than to value bet yourself. So I think I didn't hear the name Enkel, whatever. I think maybe correct. I think it makes sense at least.
Yeah, it certainly does. Guys, remember, it's not just the free roll this evening. We are giving out double what we did yesterday, Henry. Instead of 5 tickets every hour, we're giving out 10 $11 tickets every hour at the top of the hour. And all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is follow us right here on Twitch. That's it. Every single hour we'll give away those tickets. So if you aren't already following, please do click the button to be eligible to win those. And Henry, I think maybe tonight's your night. I've got a feeling you might win one.
You're going to be struggling, James, reading out these Switch names again on stream. I feel for you. Yeah, I already feel bad for you just butchering 70% of the names that you have to read out. So
I mean, I think there's any proof it's not rigged, Henry. That's it. Because if it was rigged, I'd be just choosing all the names that are easy to read out. But there were a couple last night that really did get me.
that's true. That is true. Hashtag rigged. Into Deep LA in the chat. What's up, fellas? How's it going, man? How's it going? All of you keeping us company. So what I want to know, based off that conversation we had earlier on, is are we getting some blogs linked in the chat? A lot of people in the chat asking for some of the blog posts. What's going on?
I'm not sure about the. I'm not sure if it's good to do that. You know, like they're easy to find. I'm not sure it's in good taste. I don't know. I don't want to cause drama for posting Artur's blog where he's talking about other regs and thinking he's speaking in a language where people won't find it or whatever. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
I mean,
you've done enough. You've done enough, Patrick. You've done enough. You've led it to water. If you can't find it from here, then it doesn't matter. You know. You guys can find them.
I mean, are poker players really like that, James? Like, have we ever had someone come up to us and be like, "Oh, you said this on stream. Like, how dare you?" No, I think we've been pretty fortunate.
I think you always, yeah. I mean, there's always going to be something we say that I say something that we say. There's always going to be sometimes you say stuff that over the course of talking for 7 hours straight, Henry, you're bound to say something silly now and again or ruffle someone's feathers. I think. Last night you could take, I think, out of context what I said about Dan Negrano and Phil Helmuth and upset people, but I think generally people have just got to know you're coming from the right place.
I mean, if you ever have somebody marked in like a video, like in a certain color, like a node color, like if let's say I'm watching Christoph Vogelsang's stream and he has me yellow, then I see someone else in yellow and they're like an amateur, like straight away you get like offended or whatever, you know? Like I think people get offended quite quickly about that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Not that Christoph's in the Twitch streets, but I know that people message me a lot saying, "Oh, like, what does pink mean or what does blue mean?" And I'm like, "Oh, like, don't worry." It's like,
yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah, I've some PLO streamers that I've had their streams up, and I'm like labeled the same way as someone that I think is just a complete whale, and I'm like, hang on a minute, what does this mean, man? What's going on here, you know?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's brilliant. Mikita with the check raise, by the way, the nut flush draw versus Florian's king high c-bet, chipping up nicely. Jake now the clear shortest stack. I need to find the spot pretty soon.
Sub 10
to just 9 bigs. Yeah. Sub 10.
Yeah, the big number. Yeah, it's funny, Henry, you say that because there's a player that I'm not going to name, but a friend of mine who was watching a training video or someone saw the video and forwarded it to him, whatever it was, and this person's playing PLO cash online, the instructor, going around the table going, yeah, this guy here, fish, this guy here, reg, and the hop of the mouse around my friend just went, this guy here, huge whale. And it's just forevermore, every time we see this guy, we're like, huge whale. And that's it. Just blasted forevermore. Like, doesn't matter what he does for the rest of his life. We've always got this clip. Someone calling him a huge whale.
Man. That is brilliant. I mean, sometimes it's done for the balance as well. I mean, we've spoken, you know, we had Ike in the booth, had like 6 of the best players in the world at the table, and I was just like, well, it's just a complete fish party in here right now, you know? It's just like a bunch of wrecks at the table. You just got to take it with a pinch of salt sometimes.
Yeah.
This is a hand you may continue in chips. Backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw, but ICM I think you will fold. It's a board texture where you could have some bigger bets on. That's what he's thinking, I think. It always feels, I mean, Henry, you probably know this from PLO, but it always feels tough to fold free to a flush, free to a straight. It always feels like something wrong. I guess in PLO you shop that every hand, so it's a little bit different. But in Hold'em, if you flop free to a flush and free to a straight, it always feels wrong to find a fold.
Yeah, we're talking about that with Yodi. There was like an ace-7 of clubs spot on a king 6-3 2 spades 1 club board. And I think it was Artur actually had to fold like A7 of clubs to a C bet.
Oh,
And Yodi and I were just like, oh, PLO, mate. You know, like we just turn, you know, the backdoor flush draw 50% of the time. If we've got two of them, we're sticking around and seeing a turn. And yeah, it can be painful sometimes. Can be painful.
I see Bulldozer in the chat asking, saying, just want to continue watching Pads' course. Now I see the GOAT is commentating here. What should I do now? Ask him, please. What is clearly the answer is stay with us now this evening and then continue watching the course tomorrow. Come on. Pads overload. We're getting it for free tonight, guys. We're getting a little snippet of what's available. We're getting one of the best, calling the action on the best. That's where it should be.
How's that been for you, Patrick? So obviously, I mean, a lot of the feedback that I've seen in public on social media has been very positive. A lot of, you know, big names coming out to just support you, but there's a lot more that obviously goes on behind closed doors. How are you feeling, you know, a couple of weeks now after the release?
good. Yeah, I mean, it was intense. It was intense for sure. I don't want to talk whilst this may be an all-in. Christoph may go like 3x here and then call off the big blind rather than min raise. And maybe Jake actually has to fold folds. So just see what happens here first, because this is actually a really interesting spot. It's a spot where any hand you raise, you probably want to call off the big blind. Yeah, you see him going for a slightly bigger than a min raise just to give the big blind a worse price. And it's weird with folds because you expect to have no fold equity probably. So like it's tough to shove folds with no fold equity. But at the same time, you're last in chips. Could do the old stop and go, you know? The old call and shove any flop. No.
Yeah, this stop and go.
This might be surprising for a lot of people, just calling fours against a button raise when you have like 10 big blinds. But you know, when the other guy's not going to fold, it's not becoming very thrilling all of a sudden. I don't know. Would you guys shove fours here? I think it's quite close. Like I would shove 5s and 6s, I think.
What, pre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, against button open, I mean. Stop and go actually seems okay. Fours, like, not much 5x in Christoph's range. Can make a hand like King Jack folds.
Patrick, it's making a comeback, the old stop and go. Man, I remember back in the old days, it was a legit thing all the time, right? It was just to peel out the big blind with these pairs and then just rip flops. That's how we did it.
That was everything. That was honestly everything. Everything people were doing in 2010 was really good. And then like loads of people in 2015 who didn't really have a solve or anything just started to be like critical of the 2010 guys. And they like stopped all of these trends. And now everything's back. So like, you know, donking the flop, you know, for protection, like free betting pre-flop with different hands, or like stop and goes, like all these things people in 2010 were doing. Like card runners and these kind of guys, they like said, no, you can't do this. And then they wiped it out. And then now it's all coming back. It's weird how the circle trend works.
Cyclical trends of poker.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Schindler with Queen Jack suited in the small. Addamo with the hooks in the big. Is this going to be our first? In
chips with Queen Jack suited, limping is really good here because Addamo might shove Queen 2 when you limp. But when you shove Queen Jack, he's never folding King Jack or King Queen. And your hand plays so well post-flop. So it's actually a hand where, especially when you're last in chips, limping here might actually be better than shoving because he's never going to fold an ace against you. He's calling most of his King X. But he shoves.
He goes for the shove, Patrick, and it runs out clean for Addamo. Jake Schindler out in 6th place for $225,000 plus a little bit of change. Our first elimination of the evening, down to 5, and Addamo just chipping up a little bit with that elimination, solidifying his 2nd place. And Mikita and Vogelsang, kind of the ones under the gun. Artur, I guess, the one probably going to play the tightest, right? What we were saying earlier with laddering up.
Addamo folded Jack 6. He usually loves his Jack 6. He's usually very attached to his Jack 6 suited Addamo, so surprising to see him fold.
See, Patrick, it's a live thing. You know, he's won the previous hand. He's still stacking the chips. He looks down at the Jack 6. He's like, yeah, whatever. Just get rid of this one.
Yeah, but Addamo and the Jack 6, usually they're well connected.
They're attached, are they?
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't saying that Jake's Queen Jack was a bad shove. Obviously, it makes money. I just think limping is pretty nice there, especially against Addamo, who will attack your limp so aggressively. If you limp, he goes 3x, then you can shove over the top. It's also like a pretty nice thing. This is an interesting spot. Yeah. The chips are getting really interesting, right? Like 17 million, 8 million, they're like the big stacks. Then you have those free short stacks. This would have been a nice spot for Florian to sell some of his action before the final table at like ICM, because he would have locked up, you know, like almost first place money because he has more than half the chips in play. Some people, you know, you see this on some of the, even on some sites, you can sell your action in the client for like day 3s, day 4s, day 2s, whatever it may be. This would be a nice spot for him to sell some action before the final table.
Yeah, we were discussing that yesterday, Patrick, because we had Dennis get through the satellite, and the satellite finished at 15 minutes before the main tournament started, and we're kind of debating that. Like, you just don't really have time sometimes to sell.
Yeah, exactly. But usually, if you're on a satellite and you know you're like 50% to win a seat, you will start to sell your action in advance. I guess that's what I usually do, at least.
Yeah.
Man, poker players are far more organized these days.
I mean, what the worst that happens is you don't win the seat.
That's true.
Yeah, you say that, but some of them are a complete mess, mate. I'm with some of the UK guys in Vegas at the moment, and my friend Jack Hardcastle has made the WPT Venetian final table, and he bagged up last night, James. Comes over to the rail. He doesn't have a place to sleep. He hasn't booked his hotel for the night. So I was like, all right, mate, just come and crash at mine, you absolute pleb. You know? So there are some poker players that are really disciplined and well organized, and then you have others that can't even fold their socks. Jack Hardcastle, for example.
Yeah, going for what I assume back-to-back WPT titles, right, Henry, for him if he does the business
Pretty much.
today.
James, I reckon we would have done you proud last night on the rail, mate. Honestly, just having some flashbacks, some of the stories that you've told us, and we'll try and do the same today.
The rails are fun, man. I used to do a fair amount of backing in the day. Nothing to the level of Patrick, but I'm sure Patrick can tell you that it's so much fun being on the rail when you've got a piece of someone, or just even, you know, when it's a really good friend. Just the sweat you get, and it's so different to playing. You get the whole excitement. You go through. When you're railing, you're just kind of a little bit more relaxed. You haven't got any pressure on you directly. You're not making any decisions. You just enjoy yourself, and it's one of the best feelings in the world, or at least for me.
Yeah. Yeah, the best feeling I've ever had railing is I've done a little bit of coaching for like WSOP main event final table. That's like, there's just such, you know, like there's so much atmosphere around that. That's like the most exciting thing, I think. I think even buying like a percentage of someone on, say, poker shares or something for the main event final table, or having some action or sweat somewhere. I feel like the WSOP final table is just like next level. So interesting. For Jack, this WPT is huge. Like, he's definitely had like a breakout 6 months or so. It's I really hope he manages to get that title, because he I don't know him super well. We speak a little bit, but he seems like a really nice guy, and also like he reminds me like a little bit of a modern day Charlie Carroll kind of thing, in terms of like, not like a field player, like, but he isn't afraid to go with his gut kind of thing and push the boundaries.
Right. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot from him this year. Sorry.
Yeah, well, Henry, I saw you put in the chat about Artur folding the 7-8 of diamonds in the cutoff, and this may be why. I mean, you've got Florian in the small blind, Addamo in the big. There's just such a high chance of getting 3-bet. You've got Vogelsang and Mikita on short stacks, and just electing to have to tighten up.
There's also a lot of collision effect, right? Like, if you fold, Christoph will open, then Addamo will 3-bet him with king 3 off, then Christoph will call Jack 10 suited or whatever it may be, and then they'll go to a flop. So letting the other guys collide is quite nice. This ace jack is really interesting. Like, my gut tells me to call because he doesn't call with worse when you shove and you don't get better to fold. But typically in these spots, people go for the more solver approach of shoving instead. But from my gut, just like shoving where you never get called by worse and never get better to fold, and your hand dominates so much and plays so well and can call any c-bet on any flop, it always feels like overkill. But then if you don't shove a lot, then they can start free betting you a lot. So it's like he's trying to protect the other hands in his range by shoving here, but it always just feels quite dirty to shove, like ace jack suited, king queen suited in those kind of spots, I think.
Yeah.
We may see a shove
I
here.
guess it's
I think we may see an
all.
all in here. I think we'll see an all in here. Queen jack. Yeah, I think king jack has to call. It just dominates too much stuff here, and Addamo's going to introduce the top of his range.
If he does call here and hold, we're going to have a very, very even bottom four, as it were.
Yeah.
Pretty
sick.
He has to call. Yeah, he has to call.
And flop the joint.
Wow.
That's one way to do it. If you're not sure, just call, flop the absolutes, the full double up, and there you go. Look at that, 6 million, and then 3 players on 4 million.
Oh boy.
Florian, loving life. Here we go. Now, here's one person who's going to play 7-8 of diamonds from the cutoff, Henry. Let me tell you. I'm going out on a limb. I'm staking my reputation. 7-8 of diamonds is getting raised, boys. There it is. Pay me all the money.
Dempsey, if I was a betting man, I would bet good money on that myself.
Yeah.
So if
we got an interesting table now. Yeah.
If you can keep up the aggression to big blind 200k, which I guess is like the next level, then he'll be in a spot where he can shove any hand, any 2 cards against like 18 big blind stacks essentially. That'll be interesting to see on a 100k final table. Like calling off is a little bit different than on the 1k or the 530. It'll be interesting to see.
I mean, we've got this. It's got a long time of that because we've got 6120. Next level 7140, 8160, 100, 200. Okay. But yeah, as the blinds, it gets closer to that.
They're only 5-handed, James, so like they're going to pay the blinds quite a lot already before that. So maybe by the next level, they're already getting down to that that point.
Yeah, you're getting them to 20 bigs, 25 bigs, and then life is good. But again, this is what I'm interested to see. Obviously, Addamo has the best seat in this respect, being downwind of Florian. But also, will Addamo step out? My prediction would be yes. I think he's the one who's going to still kind of go for it. But I'm a little bit almost disappointed that he has the best seat to do it with, given that he gets to see Florian act.
James wants to make it difficult for him. Yeah.
Well, because I reckon if Addamo was in the same seat as, I think if it was in Artur's seat, I think he'd still like get involved and go for it because it just seems to be his playstyle. I might be completely wrong on this, of course. Maybe just be that all the time we see Addamo, he's got a big chip lead. It always seems that way, but I just love watching the guy play. It's a little bit more
interesting 10-7 folding.
Yeah. Going for the 2.5.
I think if Florian folded every single hand, just open folded, sat out, went for coffee or whatever, I think he would finish second very often with the way the stacks are. So like, it's interesting how much he wants to get involved as well. Again, he's in through $100 satellite, we think. So the payouts are like pretty crazy.
Yeah, when we take it for granted a lot. I do try and raise this point often. We're talking pay jumps. Patrick, you put it. Well, it's half a buy, but half a buy, and if this isn't your usual buy, is a lot more than half a buy. When we're talking the difference between first and second is a house, like it's it's a little bit different if you're not used to playing for houses.
Yeah, I mean, typically, yeah.
Vogelsang popping up king, queen, Addamo defending the deuce 8. Here we go. My boy's in the action.
I mean, this shows that Addamo isn't going to step out. I mean, he isn't going to just shy away. Like he has a stack size where against 4 million, 4 million, 4 million, like preservation is very crucial rather than accumulation. But he's shown here that he's going to try to play for chips. Yeah. I guess he folds. Gut shot, no heart. tempted.
He's always tempted. There it is.
He raises.
The check raise.
He's a savage.
Oh boy, he loves it. Have some of
He's
that,
a savage. He's an absolute savage.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Hope you guys are all enjoying the action. Of course, we have the Patrick Leonard free roll coming up in an hour and a half's time. If you want to get involved, head on over to Party Poker. You can find it easy enough. It's the restricted tab, I think, in the tourneys. You'll find it. We're giving away the money. You guys can find it. A $530 WPT 500 seat up for grabs for first place. And then $1,000 in cash being paid out to the remaining top 30. I'm in there, and I'm going to try and knock Patrick out because it gives me an extra $55 daily Legends ticket. Please do head on over. The password, as you can see at the top of the screen, is PadsRock if you want to get in the mix.
Demps, are you going to be in the mix? Am I going to be putting a bounty on your head out of my own pocket again?
I was the second person registered. Don't you worry about that. I've got a page 1 of the entries. There I am, ready to go.
All right. Okay. So we may need to give some more money away on stream. I do love just dishing out money to Twitch chat, especially when it means they're going to be gunning for you in these free rolls and making your life tough. I'll think of something. We'll come up with something.
Florian, King 8 against Artur's King 8. Always going to win with the lead. The aggression pre-flop.
I mean, he could open Jack 3 here for sure. He could be opening like... This shows a little bit of his mindset that he's not going like completely bananas. You know, like Addamo would have 100% opened Jack 3 if the stack sizes were reversed, then he was in his seat. Right. So it's interesting to see.
And do you think, though, we might see it, Patrick, like you were saying, just if the blinds are a level or two later, the stack's a little bit shallower, then maybe there's a bit more incentive?
I would say that he would have the fear of Addamo because a lot of people have the fear of Addamo. But the thing is that he played back against Addamo a lot yesterday, and he seemed like he was just not going to put the white flag up, you know. So a lot of people who qualified in this situation would be very fearful of Addamo because he's so dangerous. But Florian seemed like he wanted to fight fire with fire yesterday. That was my impression, at least. Interesting if he defends here or not. There's also the WPT on Party, which started, by the way. And I think people not everyone knows about it. There's a 3K tournament today. It has a decent guarantee, and there's only 18 people in it, and it looks like there's going to be some big value there. So if you're watching this and you're a high stakes player, I would definitely recommend potentially jumping in there. It's a 1-day event, 150k guaranteed, and there's only 17 people in. It's level 7 almost, so
yeah,
I would recommend
that
it.
Looks pretty tasty. Looking at it now, Luke Greenwood, Andreas Nemeth, a couple of the ID leaders. Does look a fun one. Of course, WPT 500 going off. We were talking about it last night. We're giving away a seat for it tonight in the free roll. But what we've got tonight is Day 1C is currently underway. You've got Day 1s running throughout the week for that one. With Day 2, I believe, on Monday. Worth checking out. This one's the vanilla, as it were, the WPT 500 regular tournament. Next week, we have the WPT 500 knockout, which is Pads. I'm very late to the knockouts, man. I was grinding a bit through the deepest part of the winter this year, and I was like, God, I kind of just was instinctively against anything different than normal tournaments, and I kind of got forced to play knockouts because there's so many. And man, I have to admit I was wrong all this time because they are great fun, and it just adds such a different dynamic to it. Like when I was playing a lot, the knockouts first came along, but it was just a simple like flat knockout, not a progressive. The progressives really do make it a lot more interesting. And I guess for someone like you who studies a lot and works these things out, there must be so many really intricate differences in decision making in those, right?
Yeah, complexities, yeah, for sure. Like your decision, yeah, there's a lot of very advanced stuff, but a lot of it's just kind of common sense as well. It's very easy to make poker more complicated than it actually is. Like a lot of the time, it's maybe folding now because you want to cover some more people in the next hand. Like a lot of it is just very common sense or logic, and a lot of people get very caught up of, oh, is this bounty worth this much or that much? At the end of the day, as long as you're kind of in the region or the ballpark, which most people always will be in most hands, you're never going to be that far off. So a lot of people are put off from bounties because they don't know the math necessarily because it's so advanced. But if your math is a little bit off, it doesn't matter really. You're going to be in and around the same ballpark anyway, and everyone else also doesn't know. Like you said, you're very
that's the key.
You say you came along very late to bounties, but they've only been around for 2 years. Like the way that we approach them now and the way we will approach them in say 7 years will be very different anyway. So it's like I wouldn't worry too much about it. Artur defending 5-4 offsuit here, by the way, pre-flop. This is extremely loose defend in an ICM situation. Like you said, James, there's these 3 stacks who have very similar stack sizes, so you really don't want to be the one who drops off to be in the one out, right? Like you're trying to out survive the other 2 guys.
Look at that.
Like I'm not saying
the blind creep up.
But yeah, they're up now. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, one more level, and then we have 30-minute clock. That does increase by 5 minutes, which is obviously pretty significant online.
Right. I think this is the first of the 30-minute levels actually. The 7140 is the first of the 30 minutes. But yeah, it different to some of the other high rolls. How many we do 20 minutes and then 30, 25 to 30. Not going to make the biggest of differences, but certainly worth noting for sure. It's gonna. I guess it kind of depends how long this one goes, guys. With the chips the way they are, Florian, if he just gets a cold deck against Addamo, knocks him out, then this could be over really quickly. If it goes the other way, we could see it deepen up and go on a long time.
Some playable hands here. King 7 suited, not a bad hand to free bet. Your 7's quite nice to have. Artist still going to go in with pocket 7s against your free bet. You don't block, like Jack 10s, Queen Jacks. Arthur going for a limp, which is kind of surprising, I think. Kind of surprising. Christoph folding behind. Florian folding. They're scared of the limp,
Always scared of the limp, my man.
Addamo,
especially in live games.
Really?
The end of the gun limp re-raise just seems inevitable.
Oh, Henry, you'd have fun poker back in the way heyday. It was always the goods when they limped on the gun. They'd raise 100% frequency, and then any limp would always be a limp re-raise without fail. It was brilliant.
Yep. Yeah.
Those were the
Brandon
good
said,
old
Henry,
days.
turn that light down a bit, bro. I wish I could. The light is called the sun, and it is shining down on Vegas at the moment. I'll try on break to maybe put something up, because it's pretty unbearable for me as well at the moment. Not going to lie. Appreciate
Vegas
the concern
brags,
though, Brandon.
Patrick. Absolute brags.
Vegas brags. I mean,
Just in there, in the sunshine, loving life.
Mate, you live in Brighton.
It was glorious
biggest
sunny
brag.
today, I'm not going to lie.
There,
It was
there we go.
beautiful.
It's just like
Out in the
one
sun
of the
all
best
day.
spots in the UK to live in.
But look at this, Florian got the boots. Like, he's supposed to be the most aggressive, supposed to go after these guys. Vogelsang looks down at King Queen off under the gun. Just where he wants this hand, Patrick. Just so happy to have this under the gun.
Yeah, well, aces also, I was going to say, probably calls. Like, he definitely wants to have a call range here, like 8s, 9s, 7s, King Jack suited, stuff like that. King Queen, quite a nice hand to see bet. You block both the backdoor flush draws. So you block, let's say, Ace Queen of Spades. You block King Queen of Diamonds, King 10 of Diamonds, which would all continue. So if you bet King Queen, you might make Ace Queen of Clubs fold, for example, which is quite nice. You're not really ecstatic about check calling. You could make 8s potentially fold. Ace is going for a bet. What do you guys think he's going to do here with King Queen? Feels like it's ugly both ways.
Yeah, just give up.
I don't hate the float.
You have to respect
Two
Florian's
overs,
range to be
draw.
quite strong for flatten, I guess. So is there many tournaments out there right now, Henry? In Vegas, is there lots of tournaments going on, or I haven't been following because obviously I'm not over there. Whatever. How is it?
Yeah. Yes, I mean it's booming, man. Obviously looking really good for when we do return as well. For like the Millions tours, I honestly think we're gonna break records, mate. Like as soon as the Millions tour is back, I think we're gonna have some of our largest fields that we've ever seen. Because at the moment over here, it's insane, and they're only running at like 30% capacity, and they're breaking records and just smashing guarantees, like 2.5, 3, 4x the guarantees that they're putting on at the moment. So it's good news for us. It is good news for us once we get things sorted, with the vaccines and people can travel a lot more freely. Maybe going to have some of our biggest paydays, biggest prize pools, especially in like the Bahamas or whatnot. Look at some of these hands, boys.
Oh yeah.
And Addamo ruining it again.
Jesus Christ!
Just coming in with
these
the
are
queen,
big hands. Yeah. I guess Artur's going to free bet. Oh
wow. Okay. All right, boys. This could be a fun one.
Let's go to a flop. Three-way. King 10-4. Not a bad flop for Artur. Top set. Florian with the second pair. Addamo with the back doors. All right, I'm trying to hype this one up, guys. So just trying to give Addamo a reason.
No, you're right, mate. You're right. Backdoor galores.
Interesting bet, freeway.
Right. I mean, Artur's calling range, Patrick, is going to be a lot of these Broadway combos, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he has a stack where he's shoving like 8s, 9s, 7s pre versus Addamo's open and like ace 5 suited, so he is very heavy around king queen, king jack, jack 10 suited. Well, jack 10 may shove as well pre-flop, but around that region, I think. Could be wrong. Maybe he flats the pairs too. I don't know. Florian has to fold now though, for sure.
Brandon saying turn 10. Don't do a James Dempsey. All right. James did that yesterday. The biggest pot of the tournament. He's just called the ace. Rolled off on the turn. 2 pair versus 2 pair.
Yeah,
half the chips in play heading into Florian. That was, mate. Completely uncalled for.
Is Addamo going to empty the clip now? Interesting one for Artur, right? I guess he's going to check. Because like Addamo's not betting a 10 on the flop or queens or jacks on the flop, right? Because it's freeway, he's just going to check those hands. You block him having the other king. Like if you have pocket 10s, sure, bet because he can have a king, but I think we'll see him check. Interesting, he bet.
Yeah, and a bet is obviously going to elicit a fold. Guys, we're doing a giveaway every single hour on the stream. At the top of the hour. That's coming up not too distant future. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning one of those 10 tickets we give out each hour is be following us on Twitch. That's it. Just click the follow, sit back, relax. If you're lucky enough to win, we will be in contact. Of course, though, you will need a real money party poker account to receive the prize. So if you don't have one, go ahead and open one now. Get involved. And there's a lot more going on, of course, on Party than just these tournaments we cover. We've got the Irish Open, we've got the WPT 500s coming up, and then we have the normal stuff, Patrick, like the daily legends, things like that, those weekly leaderboards. I think it's 60k each week given away in prizes on those leaderboards. So value everywhere. Wow.
Did you
Artur.
Seriously?
Artur.
That was a wild one for sure. The thing is with Addamo, like he has these combos a lot. But yeah, that was a wild one. Yeah. Always so much going on. There's always a story of somebody satelliting into something and having a deep run. I think almost every week there's something, which just shows how much different stuff is happening on Party. I think Party, the way that I would describe Party is like quality over quantity. Like there's maybe less tournaments than some other sites, but the tournaments you get always have really good value, or there's good promotions about them. Like I don't know anyone who doesn't play like some of their volume on Party. You know, like everyone just knows there's just like unmissable tournaments, whether it be like the One Shot, it used to be the Gladiator, whether it's the Satellites, whatever it may be. There's just like unmissable tournaments for every player from every stake. Whereas a lot of people have cut
500 PLO Zoom pool as well. Like for me, not playing necessarily tournaments, but one of the things that I just really loved, like this time last year when I was grinding a lot of volume online, just like the leaderboards were just ridiculous. Like the like the PLO leaderboards was just insane, and then sweating your reg back as well, you know, because obviously just a break even shit reg, and then like, oh, okay, well, you know, averaging like 1 BB.
Well, I mean, Henry. I was going to say for the cash stuff, I see the hot tables are launching Thursday, where I think $500, up to $500 extra gets added to all different tables, all different tiers, different games. So you've got your fast forward, you got your regular cash, you got Hold'em, Omaha, whatever. But I think they just get randomly assigned extra money into pots. I believe how that works. We'll know more on Thursday, I guess, when it launches. But certainly for the cash game players who feel a little neglected sometimes with the promotions, that one's definitely worth checking out. As of course, regularly on Party, you get great cash back, aka rake back, by playing there anyway. But certainly we're not forgetting the cash players, Henry. We're not going to leave you out in the cold like we did at the start of this stream.
Mm-hmm.
Spot on, mate. Spot on.
Yeah, we are seeing Florian get a little bit more involved as the blinds have gone up, and the likes of Vogelsang sub 20 in the blig.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes sense for him to put his foot down on the gas a little bit with the ICM leverage. He can now kind of apply pressure or more pressure on Addamo and Artur due to Christoph dropping off a little bit. It was obviously a lot closer about 20-30 minutes ago, everyone around the 4 mil mark, and now there's obviously a clear drop off between being tied second and then having Christoph, sub 20 now? Yeah, sub 20 after this hand. I mean, could potentially see
also like Addamo blasting off 1 million to Artur is really good for Florian too, right? Because he doesn't want to shove like 7 million, but like if they both have 5, then it's a little bit more reasonable, you know. So I guess he was happy to see Artur 4-bet shove because it makes their stacks like more condensed as well, rather than this one's going to be interesting though. This will be very interesting. I think Addamo will open, Artur will probably 3-bet ace 10 off, like 820k or something.
Artur doesn't cover though, so I feel like flatting is more of a thing here.
He doesn't cover, but like
he's completely wrong with that logic.
He doesn't cover, but he essentially does. Like if Addamo loses the all-in, he's out next regardless because he has like 100k left anyway. So like it doesn't change. Like it's not like it's a bounty where you need to cover and like every chip is important.
Okay.
Like if Addamo loses an all-in here, he's essentially finishing 5th. You know.
Okay. That's my
but
bad.
Artur's actually, Artur's actually a guy who likes to flat. He likes to see through. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I would assume that 3-betting the ace-10 in position would make more sense when we do cover due to Vogelsang obviously being short. Because I feel like 3-bet folding a hand as strong as ace-10 on the button is just kind of a disaster for us at the moment, given the stack distributions.
Well, if you flat ace-10, what's going to happen is the big blind can squeeze very aggressively. Like if you have aces, kings, queens, jacks, ace-king, you're going to 3-bet very often, right? So if you start calling too many, you want to call your suited hands, right? Like king, queen suited, king, jack suited. If you also include all your ace-10 offs, your ace-jack offs, you want to call ace-queen off, king queen off. If you start including all of these, then the big blind can just squeeze any 2 cards, or even Christoph can shove very wide on you because you're not really incentivized to call off too much. And if you do free bet ace 10 off and make Addamo fold jack 7 of clubs or jack 6 of diamonds, one of his favorites, then that's also completely fine too. Like folding them off that equity, and also folding the big blind off, let's say 10-9 suited, which would come along, or pocket 5s, which would come along, or king queen offsuit, which would come along, is quite nice too. So yeah, and it also stops. You also don't want Addamo to just be able to open all the time when you're on the button. You want him to actually start folding a lot when you're on the button, so you can have chances to VPip yourself without having to play against Addamo. So if you free bet him enough of the time, then Addamo is not going to be able to open the jack 6, the jack 2s, the queen 4s, whatever it may be. So you want to free bet him, but you don't want to free bet him with 7-8 offsuit. You want to have some kind of blockery hands. So ace 10 just feels quite natural in that regard to me.
I appreciate the insight, my man. Makes
I could be wrong.
sense.
This is just, I mean, obviously, I'm very likely to be wrong because he flat called, right? And he's a really good player. So I'm just giving what I would have done and why kind of thing. But don't take it as gospel for sure.
I don't think anyone does. Yeah, I think a lot of the people that come in here, I think we've just made it a great environment and community where you can, give feedback on hands and kind of, not going to try and judge people. That's the way we take it. Mate, my flatmate is an absolute legend. I'm going to take a picture and show you guys what he's banged up for me for breakfast on break. What a hero. Oh, man.
I think Florian made bet again here. The 8 of hearts. This is actually going to be a really interesting hand. He checks. Very interesting. Feels quite a nice hand to bet. 10-8.
It's a fun river.
Back, river bricks.
Kind of a weird
one.
one.
This is quite a... Yeah, it sucks having is a spade that relevant? Maybe I'm overthinking it. I feel like 75-80% is probably what we're going for here on this river card.
Well, you're value betting probably... 10. You're value betting King X plus, so you want to go big. Like Queen X is going to continue barreling, so going biggish makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Addamo will call here, maybe. I mean, it's so easy when you see the cards, but Florian's going to barrel Jack 10 on the turn very often. He's going to end up getting to the river with so many 6-5 offsuit, Jack 7 offsuit, 10-7 offsuit.
If Addamo finds the call here, could see a huge shift in morale at the table.
Yeah, and chips. I mean, it dramatically changed.
What?
Well, he's gone the other way. Have some of that, he says. We've got Jack. Have the Jack 10. Let's raise it up. Florian in the bin. Patrick. We found something that even surprises Patrick. He gives it the big reaction as he falls up to about 10 million in chips. Florian with 15 as we head to our break. Guys, we're giving those tickets away on the flip side of this break. So if you haven't done so already, press follow on Twitch. All right, myself, Henry, and Patrick. We'll be back in 5 minutes. More of this, the Millions Online Mega High Roller.
Just tell me if I'm sounding like an idiot. I don't know what I just said.
You're saying Sam is making some high variances?
No, I mean that deciding to raise there, he was like, well, I should probably fold.
A little bit high variance. That's not that high variance. Like if you were to shove.
High variance here, right? Or just so standard?
I think it's pretty standard. I mean, Ace is just such monster right now. And then Matt's almost always going to see bet just as he did.
You just have to call, right?
Yeah.
And just hope that maybe you can get some kind of bet in on the river or something.
Yeah, be looking for Matt to run some kind of bluff.
He's got 3 aces. Check. He's got 3 aces. feels pretty good. From Franklin's point of view, though, what is Trickett's range here, besides the 3 aces, which is sort of a very narrow part of it?
Trickett can have like 8x, King X. I suppose what Franklin is thinking, he's thinking Trickett calls, he shoves his aces to a min-raise.
He really should too, shouldn't he? I mean, it would be really odd for Sam to have ace anything right now.
Yeah.
You know, he might not even slow play ace king. In fact, he probably wouldn't. And if Trickett does call here, does he check the river? Is that part of the whole plan?
Yeah, he's checking the river, that's for sure. He's just trying to give Franklin some rope so that he'll shove the river as a bluff. I guess this is just going to call as well.
He's got a good awareness, Sam Trickett, because this is the only way he's getting on. He seems to know overall it's the best. And how often are you shoving if you're Franklin here?
Well, I'd be pretty concerned when Sam calls a turn. I'd have to decide whether he's calling light with kings or aces. The fact that there's a backdoor flush draw makes the shove a bit better because now Sam can fold some backdoor flush draws. I mean, it would just be mostly a matter of how often do I think he's turning up with like King X he folds river with.
In your experience, does, you know, at this stage, is Sam going to fold the king? If he's called this far with a king 10 type hand, is he folding?
Not necessarily, but a lot of players I think will end up folding if they get there with King X.
Cool.
He's got him. He went for it. Look at that.
Yeah.
And you know, Franklin knows. I mean, you know, this can happen.
He defends with the Queen 7 of hearts from the big blind. And I see a 10, 8, 5, 2 diamond flop. Justin checks it on over to Jake. Jake will be wary. He knows he's raised from early position. He doesn't connect with that flop too often, whereas Justin may well have done defending from the blind. And what a card it is for Justin on the turn. 4 of hearts gives him a gut shot and flush draw. And expect Justin to bet here. He does make it 1.4 million to go. Jake not done with this pot yet. He wants to see the river card. He still has the best hand. And it looks like Bonomo is sizing up the all-in. Sure enough, Jake will fold. Strong play from Bonomo there. Welcome back, everybody. Myself and Henry Kilbane still with you, bringing the action. We'll have Patrick back in a minute or two as well. But, well, Henry, it's been a lively start to our final table. Let's say we just jump straight back into the action, see what's going on.
Yeah, well, why not?
Warriors. Okay, Artur's picked up some chips from Addamo, it looks like, because, yeah, Addamo was just short of 10 mil before the break, right?
Yeah, they've tangled a little bit. They've tangled indeed. Christoph still shortest by far. Sub 20. Oh, wow.
Okay, and I think...
Artur with
okay, well, let's get Patrick in, because I believe
Patrick's...
I just came back.
Just ready to come back in now.
I just
this
came
hand
back.
goes off.
Have they done a deal or something? What the hell's going on here?
Have they done a deal?
No.
Oh
No.
my.
That is disgusting. How about that for a run out, boys and girls?
You guys, I came back.
Whoa.
You guys, you put something fake on here. I'm sure. I came back. This is like troll pads or something, right? I came back with my very berry juice. He's shoving 10-9 off. Come on, guys, show me the real thing. What's going on here? I don't believe you.
Wow.
Wow.
Not like this.
10-9 off against 10.
Not like
Flops
this.
the world about. Bings the turn. Jeez. What is going on, guys? This final
Got some
table.
GGs in
And
the
we're
chat.
gonna have another all in here as
Mikita.
well. We're going to have an all in here, guys. Florian looking for an ace or 9 on the river. Doesn't find it. Vogelsang with the double. And
No, but can we see?
Florian and Artur equal. What is going on? Wow.
Wow.
I just came.
And
I
then
was
there
ready
were
for
four.
chilled. Jesus.
Wow. Guys, if you are just joining us, you are watching a tournament where first prize is $1.3 million. And we're seeing the 10-9 rifled in pre-flop. These guys are brave. Maybe a little too brave in some spots. But yeah, welcome. Everyone now guaranteed 364K in this one. Next prize, I believe, is 525, something in that region. So we go over the $500,000 mark for the next pay jump. Yikes! It's going off.
It was it the first hand after the break? The 10-9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought he was shoving blind versus blind because Christoph had like 15 bigs and he didn't see the open. That's the only thing I can assume. Like, you know, sometimes you come back from the break, you rush back, or whatever. I don't know, like he was eating or whatever. Came back and he thought it was blind versus blind and he just pressed all in and didn't see the raise. Like that makes some.
Yeah.
That makes some
I don't know.
sense.
I don't know.
Because
That does make sense.
You would always shove blind versus blind with 10-9 when Christoph has ICM pressure, like for 12 big
Yeah.
blinds, whatever. It's like a quick shove, like okay, easy shove. So like maybe he just didn't see the raise because I don't think he would shove on Mikita because Mikita is really good with ICM and wouldn't raise too much, and Mikita would
Right.
fold a lot on the button to allow Artur to shove his 10-9 onto Christoph. You know, there's a lot of collision effect with small blind and big blind, so it's not a spot where Mikita's going to be very wide anyway. So I think he would have. I think he misread the situation and thought he was shoving blind versus blind. It's the only thing which really makes sense, I think.
Well, incredible stuff. Either way, wow. Wow. Action heating up as we get closer, Patrick, to your free roll. That's going off in 55 minutes. Again, if you are just joining us, we have the Patrick Leonard free roll over on Party Poker in an hour's time. We're giving away a WPT 500 seat worth $530 for the winner, as well as an additional $1,000 paid out to the top 30% of the field. So if you want to get involved, please do head on over as we see another clash. Florian 3-betting the ace-queen here, Patrick. Christoph opening ace-jack.
If he flat
Are we
called
gonna
Addamo, it may have shoved the queen jack. That's what I thought was going to happen. I think ace jack will shove here, ace jack offsuit. Against the triple, the free bet and you
We
like.
saw him shove, was it ace-jack before, didn't we? In a very similar spot against Florian.
Ace-jack
got the
suited,
fold that
yeah.
time. Not going to get the fold this time.
Yeah. Calls.
Just calls. Flops a jack. All right. Wow.
Yeah, he called ace jack suited in position. He shoved ace jack suited in position, and then calls ace jack off out of position. Interesting. Stack's obviously being a little bit different now. Florian, not a good flop for Florian though, right? Like Christoph smashes like the king jack 9.
Well, here's the c-bet. Fifth pot.
So yeah,
Chris.
I guess he's not going to just bet once, right? Because Christoph always has like, you know, jack 10, a king queen, a king 10, a 9-10, a ace 10, ace queen, whatever. So ace jack. So like betting once won't really make too much sense, I assume, because he doesn't have like pocket twos or anything.
Right.
So we should expect fireworks, I imagine.
Well, the biggest of bricks, Patrick, on the turn. The deuce of hearts rolling off.
It's a kind of spot where even though the SPR's won, you sometimes don't want to bet all in. You want to bet like 40% of stacks, because 40% of stacks makes a hand like Jack 10 already in a tough spot. You know, like Ace Jack if he has that, or Ace 10. You know, these kind of hands. You don't have to go all in against these kind of hands. And if you have aces, kings, king, queen, king Jack, queen 10, pocket nines, you don't want to shove either. So you could have went for a non all in. Yeah, interesting spot. I guess check. Ace check.
He gets there. Vogelsang does improve, as does Florian.
Well, now we've got a four-handed battle on our hands, boys. Florian had half the chips in play, and he's given some back.
If Christoph bets Ace Jack, he has to represent the bluff as well. So like he has to decide that he's bluffing 10-9 suited. So he's turning 10-9. Yeah, Ace Queen snap fold. Ace Queen folded instantly, yeah. Because it's so hard to bluff a hand there. You need to bluff 10-9 or like Queen Jack or something crazy. Interesting he snap folded. Are the timings correct, at all or not?
No, what happens is, Patrick, the timings are correct, except for some very particular circumstances, one of which is when they tank for a long time. I've been trying to piece it together over the last year. I think it's like maybe when they go past a minute, it glitches with the seconds and displays it as a snap fold. So, yeah, the snap folds are quite often what we assume are long tanks. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, interesting. I think if he checked Ace Jack, the guy would have value bet Ace Queen on the river, because there's Ace 10, King Queen, and stuff you can get value against. Some interesting things can happen here. It's not super unreasonable for Arthur to check raise potentially from the small blind.
Pretty rare scenario where Addamo's the spectator in a pot. See a bit of Florian with the overpair. Artur continues. Pardon me, continues very much so with the check raise. Patrick, they're kind of like the very vulnerable deuces. We on board with this?
Well, he check raises, yeah. I've played a lot of Artur, and I know he loves to check raise in these kind of spots with these kind of hands. It's kind of a weird one because you don't have too many really, really strong hands, but he may just want to continue everything he continues as a check raise. So check raise in flush draws, check raise in 7s plus, check raise in some hands like King 10 of clubs, stuff like that. Wow, the thing is, now it's weird. This is a really weird spot because he doesn't have 6x, he doesn't have a 3, right? So it's like, it's a kind of spot where you might want to bet smaller. This is a really, really big bet for deuces. 9s is definitely not folded. Like, you even beat value. You beat 7s, you beat 8s. Like, you're definitely calling 9s here.
It's interesting because he did this with pocket 3s on a queen deuce deuce board the other day.
I saw it.
Under the gun versus big blind. Yeah, he does love going after these paired board spots. Seems like. I'd be shocked if Florian fold.
Is this a little bit, Patrick, what you're saying? Florian, we know, doesn't usually play this big. Suddenly now he's at a position where he could knock someone. Wow. Yeah, look at that. Just absolutely putting the pressure on when the pay jumps to 6 figures. When we're dealing with houses, we're dealing with cars.
Yeah. The thing is, though, he can just value bet worse. He could be betting like for value if like 8s there, 7s there, whatever. Yeah. And also, it's so hard to represent a value hand on the river. It's so hard for him to bluff the river because what's he representing? Calling the small blind. He doesn't have a 3. He doesn't have a 6, So, like, what's he check raising, blasting off with? He's not doing it with, like, 8s for value, right? So he's going to play very passive on rivers, I think. So I would probably call 9s and just play some river cards, I guess. But that was a good bluff. That was a good bluff by Artur, right? I mean, he made him fold a big pair.
I think with the suits, maybe came into a little bit. I mean, maybe I'm just trying to think of reasons for folding pocket 9s on that board. I don't know, man. Maybe we're calling 9 of hearts, 9 of diamonds, and folding 9 of spades, 9 of clubs. I don't know, chat. I'm as confused as Pads is. I mean, Artur
Yeah.
just
Well,
it's going to have
I mean-
some ace 4, ace 5 of spades and clubs that check raise flop with backdoor nut flush draw or front door nut flush draw.
Yeah, it's nice to have like king 10 of clubs, so when Florian has, say, pocket nines, when you hit your 10, like, you win sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if
yeah.
you have like ace 4 and you hit a 4, you're not like too thrilled about your 4.
Guys, we just came back from our break, which means it's just past the top of the hour, which means I get to give away a whole bunch of tickets. So without further ado, the first 5 players, I'll do them in batches of 5 because it takes me a while to get through these names, Henry. You know, they try and trick me with these these names. So if you hear your name, you've just won an $11 ticket. Let's start with Chess Beer 77, Sabotage 888, A High 420, Jimmy 1292, and Facebookophobia. There we go, Henry. I got through them. Those were easy ones. If you just heard your name, you have won an $11 ticket. Someone will be in contact with you guys. You have nothing to worry about. You have nothing to do. Just sit back, relax. Someone will contact you. But if you don't have already a real money party poker account, then please go ahead and make one because otherwise you can't receive that ticket. Names are in the chat as well for those of you who may be curious as to what I was actually saying, pronouncing those names. It's Addamo, pair, gut shot. All right, I'm going to try and sneak the other 5 in, Henry, as well. Whilst we're here, we have got BR Santos, Tricky, Simon 0134, Lord Cyril, and Neutral. So if you heard your name, you also have won one of those $11 tickets. Guys, if you're just joining us, we do this every single hour on stream. Those $11 tickets given out. All you have to do to be eligible is press the follow button on this Twitch channel. That's it. And just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show as these guys battle it out for over $1 million up top. Damo,
We could
Queen.
see a shot.
What do you think?
Wow. Artur is come back from the break and he says, I'm going for it. He says, no more. Small blind. He's going to go for it. It's small blind 3 times in a row. First time, 10-9 offsuit shoved. Second time, pocket deuces, check raised, then blasted. And now 7-5 suited, going for it as well. He's really defending his small blind here. I guess Addamo's going to call. Okay.
Oh, this hand's just over and done with. One would assume.
Well, King Queen doesn't want to get check raised, right? So it could check back.
True.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
and
turn
now
nuts.
the problem with Artur is he blocks pocket 7s and pocket 5s, which are going to be like Addamo's like hands that the first folds on the turn. Also like 7-8 suited, he blocks 5-6 suited, he blocks. So he has a very, very bad hand to bluff with. So I assume he's just going to give up. But if Addamo checks again on the turn, which he might do, because it's such a bad turn card for him, Artur may go for like a really big river bet to put pressure on. No, he bets.
People in the chat wanting Addamo to slip it on over, as James Dempsey likes to put it.
Just
give him as much rope as
slide it
possible.
on over to him. Give him a little bit of rope. Addamo now with Ace King. All right, this is literally leveling out a bit more. This is going to be fascinating. So Artur with the chip lead. 364k locked up for these guys. They're playing for 1.3 milli up top. Just $1 million difference, guys, between fourth and first. Not much.
Artur's coming. He's going for it. Honestly, this next hour we may see Addamo and Artur absolutely blast off versus each other. This is incredible. Like, he's going so aggressive right now, and he's the chip leader we all want to see. That's for sure. Addamo might 4-bet non all in to induce. I mean, we saw Artur shove 10-9 offsuit, right? He shoved. Okay.
Yep. I don't think the offsuit variant of this hand wants to induce, right?
Why not?
ICM.
Why not?
I think I prefer inducing with ace king suited and then just jamming all of my ace king O's. I could be wrong, but I think
the thing is
there with ace king O is just ICM suicide.
I mean, Artur's range is going to be hands which are very polarized, like really, really good hands or really, really bad hands. So he's not going to have, like, say, Queen Jack suited to call your 4-bet. So he's either going to shove over the top of your 4-bet or he's going to fold. So when you induce Ace King, the only thing you can do is give him the opportunity to shove wider on you. And if he shoves wider on you, he's going to shove, like, Ace 5s or, King Jack offsuits or whatever it may be. So the extra hands he includes into his range, Ace King, like, absolutely destroys. So I think it's nice to induce. Like, it's not like he has, pocket fours and just decided to free bet and then now he shoves over the top of you. So you don't get, like, that ICM suicide from the fact that you flip with a hand. When you get it in against some hands, you're going to have, like, 75% or whatever, which is great, And it's also a spot where you don't mind to gamble. If you win 16 million, you're the massive chip leader and now you're going to be able to punish everyone as well. So I think it's nice.
Does he have a 5-bet jamming range though in that spot? Because aren't we just opening the door to take I don't want to say vulnerable hand, but take Ace King O post out of position in such an ICM heavy leverage spot? I don't know, man. It just feels like a nice one from my PV.
I would say the opposite. I'd say, like, he's not likely to have a flat calling range, but he is likely to have a 5-bet jam range because I don't think he has, like, pretty hands, let's say, like Jack 10 suited or 9-10 suited. I think he just flat calls them initially. So when you 4-bet, he doesn't really have many hands to flat the 4-bet. Like, what is he going to flat the 4-bet with? Like, he's not. Okay. He's free betting very polarized hands like Ace 4 offsuit, 7-5 suited, 10-9 offsuit. Like these hands which he's been free betting, but he's been flatting more of the suited hands like, King Queens and 10-9s and stuff like that. So I don't think he's going to flat the 4-bet very much. But, just how I see it.
That's amazing, man. No, that's really refreshing to kind of hear a completely new perspective on that spot, because it's definitely something that I've been trying to sell about not inducing, and the way you broke it down makes a ton of sense. I appreciate the insight, chat. Get excited as well. A couple of mixed opinions, but that's what we're all here for. And people saying, Henry, Pads, why aren't you in this 100k then? Because we're here to call the action for you guys, all right? Next time, Pads and I will be battling about 4-bet and 5-bet ranges, but not today. All right, just
can't necessarily get in the 100Ks, guys, but we can get in the free rolls. Head on over to Party. It's in 40 minutes. The password is Pads Rock. It's at the top of the screen there, if you can't quite make out what I'm saying. But head on over there. Click Reg, get in there. We're giving away that 500 seat. We're giving away $1,000 in cash. And if you knock Patrick out, you're going to get a $55 ticket for Day Legends on top of it all. As Christoph finds Ace King suited in the big, goes after Artur's open.
And also, like, just quickly, in GTO land, we would be shoving Ace King in that spot, but we're playing against an opponent who's seen that he's shoving hands like 10-9 offsuit, that he's playing hands like for free bets like 7-5 suit. He's been very aggressive in big pots with hands which are like, which when we have Ace King, we don't mind him doing so with, So like if we know that he has Ace 4 offsuit and he's going to shove like 5% of the time or 10% of the time, it's worth it just for those 10% extra times where the guy loses his head in the spot, because obviously he's probably not supposed to shove, say, 10-9 offsuit in, say, the GTO land or however you want to describe it. So giving someone the leverage there is also always quite good, I think.
Is that the name we're going for with our new city, James? I think Pads has just unlocked completely. I just unlocked it. GTO
I like Value
land.
Town. Value Town's my
Town's
preferred.
good.
Well,
yeah, Value Town's good.
Well, we're going to see a big flop here. We'll get big pots here. Maybe Florian takes Artur to Value Town.
Well, we're going to see a turn, unless Florian bets big, but I don't think he ever does on this board. We're always just going to be betting like, what, 1/3? I don't want to use the word always, but it feels like a 1/3 board. Even smaller. Makes sense.
You can use the sizing to make like King Jack of Spades fold, like the suited hands which don't have a backdoor flush draw, which is around about 25% pots.
Oh,
A6 calling.
Oh boy.
Get comfortable. Get tied down. Get ready for the G-force. We're lifting off.
The King of
Yeah,
Hearts.
I mean,
So it's a Mega Master. It's a Mega Master. So you get pocket fives to fold, but you get Ace-X of Hearts and King Jack of whatever to call, Jack 10, which is called the Mega Master. It's my favorite word in poker. Get better to fold and get worse to call. It looks like it may be successful here too. Check call all in on the river looks very sexy. Very, very
Stop
sexy.
it.
I'm
If
telling
he
you.
check calls all in on the river, I'm quitting commentary, mate. I'm honestly,
Jack
I'm just
10,
gonna
King 10.
message
Ace 5 gets there.
the guys behind the team. We got the King of Hearts, mate. Tell me how we're check calling river with King of
I don't
Hearts.
think he's
in our
gonna.
hand.
Well, what's he value shoving on it? Oh wow, he just goes for
Oh,
himself.
wow, he just goes for the jab.
yikes.
It's-
Wow. Florian, back in the lead. No fear. No fear from our satellite man. Just shoving houses, shoving cars. I keep saying that, but it's just it needs reiterating. It's the stakes here tonight. We're used to playing for big stakes on this stream, but this is a little special.
You're normally the guy that's just like, oh, it's only a 100k ladder. You normally just
It's
turn
$1
your nose
million.
up at these.
It's $1 million between fourth and first. A milli. Like, sure, Addamo, Artur, Christoph, they throw it on the pile with the other millions they've got, but now we have a little bit more insight into Florian. We know that it is career-defining tournament for him this evening.
Interesting hand here.
Right,
I
do we see
guess
these guys go at it again? Like,
Well, it's a board texture where you could certainly have some bigger bets on. In ICM, typically you want slightly smaller bets, but it's a board where you definitely want to put some bigger bets in. So maybe Addamo check raises.
go
Turn
check
deuce.
call.
Don't hate a lead on this turn. Missed the flop action, so ignore me if that's
Check call.
clean. Check call.
Good
flop.
river for Addamo's perceived range. He has a lot of like 7-8, 7-9, 8-9, 4-5. And he can value bet quite thinly here, right? Like an 8 is essentially the nuts because Art is always going to bet, pocket 9s plus on the turn or a 10 plus on the turn. Wow,
Whoa.
big old bet.
The 3x pot. Haven't seen that one for a while, guys.
Hmm.
The
These
B300,
guys-
James.
They're going. They're just going hard. Like, what is going on, Patrick? What happened on that break? Everyone just did a bunch of shots? Is that what happened?
I still don't know if it's real. I came back, there's 5,000 people in the chat, and Artur's going wild. Florian's tripling it off. Addamo's 3x pot, and everyone's going bananas. I don't know. I'm not sure I can trust this whole. I don't want to log into the client to see if I'm being trolled or not, but
That's
potentially I am.
honestly thinks he's being.
This would be the best practical joke of all time if we somehow faked all of this just to stitch pads up. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Oh,
10-9 offsuit rip from Artur if you're with us. You saw it, Mikita Badziakouski snapped it off with 2 10s. Was dead on the turn. I mean, that's how absurd that one was. Gave Artur a huge stack. He's been in the war since. Florian just bluffed him. Well, I say bluffed him. Florian had the best hand, but bluffed nonetheless. And has reclaimed his lead. Addamo is really chipping up nicely. Always dangerous. And Christoph, well, he's just kind of keeping his head down, Patrick. He's like, what is going on? He's seeing this. He's seeing Artur 3-bet liberally. He's seeing the 3-bet jam with the 10-9. He's thinking, hang on a second. There's going to be some money to be made here from just folding.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
It's like Pat said, when we got back from break, Addamo and Artur have just been tangling. I don't know if it was the pea break or the juice or the tea or the coffee, whatever it was that was grabbed in that 5 minutes has definitely got the blood pumping. And yeah, it's been a wild 30 minutes, that's for sure.
I think they all just want to make the free roll in 30 minutes. They want this to be over with so they can play the main event, you know?
The pads free roll. That's where it's at.
Matteo Bound says, it makes me a little uncomfortable to know that these are free men roaming our society. I like that comment. They are madmen, that's true. For people who don't play on party poker, there's an option where you can throw things at each other, like throwables. So you can throw pigeons, goats, poop, all sorts of other stuff. And I know some players on this final table actually like to throw some stuff. So I wish we could see what was going on. Like Artur shoves the 10-9 and then throws like a pigeon at Mikita. Mikita calls the 10s and then he throws a piece of poop on the turn back at Artur, whatever. So I wish we could see that on the replay, but unfortunately we can't.
Molly asking a question about the ace deuce of spades jam from Mikita earlier out of the small when Florian opened jack 10 of spades. And well, the question is directed at you, Pad, so I'll let you answer. But it's Florian opened jack 10 suited at 100 bigs. Mikita jammed with 11 bigs effective. Do you think jack 10 suited is a call in that spot?
Yeah, I was actually going to say at the time that I think it would be very smart for Florian to call. I didn't want to say it out loud, but it sounds kind of fishy. But basically the setup was Florian had like infinite chips, Mikita had 10 big blinds, and everyone else had like 30. And Florian at this point was opening every hand. Sometimes if you're like an unknown guy, like let's say they don't know your screen name and you've satellited in, if you just call off there for 12 bigs with jack 10, everyone in the future is going to be very careful, like playing back at you, because you've shown, look guys, I'm not going to be fucked around with here kind of thing, you know, I'm going to call you off when you shove against me. So in the future, when you open onto Addamo and he has 15 big blinds and he's thinking about reshoving ace deuce off on you or king 7 off on you or king 6 suited or whatever, he's going to be like, wow, this guy doesn't fold jack 10, so he's not going to fold king queen, he's not going to fold ace 8 or whatever. So it's actually a spot where early on the final table you can make like a minus EV call to potentially get some future game, especially when the call's not going to lose you that many chips anyway. Obviously, if you play against these players every day, it's a little bit different, and you know, GTO, etc. You want to just play good. But if you want to play, you know, a little bit of white magic, it's not a bad way to start the final table off. I was going to say this, but it sounded pretty ridiculous. So I didn't at the time. But
oh god, the white magic got a trigger check. There's some of you guys out there gonna be going after it.
All right, Christoph. So you're waiting for these moments. 2 10s in the small, Artur popping up on the button. I can't believe how even this will suddenly got.
It would typically be quite dicey to get this in. Like, it's not thrilling to get 10s in here usually, but against Artur, who is, you know, very aggressive, I guess it's very good. But in these spots, sometimes you may just shove pre-flop. If you shove pre-flop, you make him fold like king queen suited, ace jack offsuit, ace queen offsuit, these kind of hands. Because when you free bet, typically people won't full bet shove, say 7s on you. So just shoving yourself at these stack sizes would be reasonable. But when you're against Artur, who could, you know, shove ace deuce against you or shove deuces against you, whatever it may be, there's a lot more value in inducing. By the way, is it difficult for you guys to read the stack sizes? Like I only play in big blinds, so I'm always working out like, okay, at like 8,900,000 divided by 160,000. Like I'm not used to doing this mental arithmetic anymore.
Wow.
Well, I think like the easiest way, Pads, is just like there's 35 million in play, and just like going from there on. If you know how many big blinds are in play, so. 220 at the moment, and then just take whatever percentage the player has of the overall chips in play. Makes it a lot easier instead of trying to just be like 8 mil divided by, you know, whatever it is. That's how I do it. Every time the blind levels go up, I just quickly try to work out how many blinds are in play to just give me a rough idea in any given spot.
All in here, by the way. A6.
Whoa,
A6
Christoph's in the tank. I mean.
I think he might go for it. The 6 is very nice. It unblocks the bluffs.
Oh, wow, okay. he's
Fucking
and the slips in the call. Gives him maximum, Patrick, maximum opportunity to punt it off.
Oh, Christoph has an ace, suited ace, which doesn't block any of the backdoor flush draws, so he may go for a bet against like all the backdoor flush draws. And he blocks aces.
Pot behind, and he pots the slow play. That's it. Yeah.
He won't shove. I don't. 20%, yeah, 15%, sure.
800k the bet. Just giving more chips to Addamo.
Addamo might race. He's. Who knows? Who knows with Addamo? I mean, I assume he'll call, but. Yeah. Oh,
Ooh.
six is a
Wow.
dicey turn card for Christoph.
Right, we can see this go, what, check, and then a bet from Addamo, and Christoph might call it off, right?
He might even just shove the turn at this point. Like, Addamo probably doesn't have 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks, queens, kings. So it's like aces, or like he has some hands, like ace, queen of spades, ace, jack of spades, like that kind of stuff.
I think I'm blocking the suits on the board as well. It's pretty relevant here. I'm blocking a lot of the floats that you mentioned, Pads.
Checks it back, seems a clean river. I mean,
it's a weird spot because Addamo blocks ace highs. Like if you have kings, you don't mind shoving because you get called by ace king high or something. When you have aces, it's like Christoph usually has, let's say, queen jack offsuit, king queen offsuit, king nine suited or something. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you checked the river. And ace six here.
He's not going to value bet, is he? Okay. You're getting excited, Patrick. You saw it coming. You saw it potential.
Yeah.
We'd have to be targeting like 8s or 9s, right? It's just like turning our ace 6 into a bluff doesn't make much sense when we beat all of the ace queens and ace jacks of the world that you were alluding to earlier on.
Yeah, I didn't mean as a bluff. I meant for value against like ace queen high, not as a bluff. He's not as a bluff. Yeah,
that'd be pretty gangster. The jams, the ace 6 there for value.
Yeah, and you're not beat by too much, but yeah.
Well, Addamo has got the lead back, Henry. He started the final 7 last night with the lead. He had about 12, 13 million chips, something like that, and it's taken a long time, but he is back there. And now we get to see it, boys. Addamo with the lead is a different beast. Let's see what pressure you can put on these guys.
I wonder if blocking...
King queen, king jack.
He'll be all in. There. This is actually quite close for Artur to call a shove. Like, it's quite a big shove. And it's like damaging from ICM point of view too. He will shove king queen. I mean, it's not super thrilling king queen suited here. Either way, folding or calling. Oh, he free bets half his stack to commit. I assume Artur's going to go all in. I mean,
king queen suited. Does he want to take Vogelsang on?
He calls.
Flat. Okay.
You don't see too much flatting when someone goes half their stack. Like, this is not happening much. So this is exciting. And now Christoph is wishing he shoved. He's like, oh my god, I let him call Jack 10 suited. This is ugly. Yeah. Because what does Artur have, right? What? Yeah. King Jack can call. And this is messed up spot.
It's a messed up spot. There's going to be a chop pot. They're both happy with that one, Patrick.
Ecstatic. They're both ecstatic, yeah.
It's like, how have we got ourselves in this spot? The two of us. How are we here? What happened? What got us here?
That was a cool hand.
We've been diving deep into some very intricate parts of the game tree today, boys. This has been a pretty wild 45 minutes so far, and I'm not surprised to see it in the mega high roller during the millions online. It's just it's been pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Oh wow. Addamo could go uno dos tres here.
Empty.
See the 9, 6 flop. Florian's hoping for it. We saw him yesterday play a huge pot with Florian, where he went big, huge, ginormous. Here he's going to start off small. 340k.
Just call Florian. Keep the trap open. Oh, it's not as good of a turn card because he can't target the 6x as aggressively anymore.
V Burke in the chat saying every flop Patrick goes, Addamo could go absolutely bananas here. Because it's true, guys. Addamo can go bananas at any moment. That's why. That's why we love watching him.
He leads the turn. That's such a boring play now for us. Does Addamo just say fuck it? I mean, if you remember what Arthur did with his undercards on the double paired board before, he didn't care, you know, he didn't care he had unders. Don't
Absolutely
do
said
it,
it.
Michael. Don't do it, Michael, please. I mean, please don't do it. Please, just let it go. Okay.
He does let it go. Those two equalize in chips. 11.5 apiece. It's tight at the top. A little different story down the bottom. Vogelsang with 4 million. Artur with just under 8. Guys, you've got 20 minutes until the free roll starts. The password is at the top of the screen there. Pads, rock. Head on over to Party Poker. Get yourself registered. We're giving away a WPT 500 seat for the winner. $1,000 in cash for the top 30% of the field. And a bonus on top. Anyone who knocks out Patrick will win a $55 Day Legends ticket. So please do head on over there. It's easy enough to find. It's called the Patrick Leonard Free Roll. Go have a look. Best of luck.
This is a brave open from Florian into two guys who are free betting, like 40% right now. I don't like your chances of seeing a flop. And two guys who are check raising like 50%, so you're gonna have to hope to flop some pairs. The thing is, as Florian, if you fold blind versus blind, Addamo and Artur, they can just fire in 4 million, 5 million each easily, So like folding the king 7 and allowing these two guys to collide is quite effective, I think.
You called it as well. Patrick, at the start. At the end of last break, there was a switch that was flicked. Pads could sense it, boys and girls. Is this 100k? Yeah, it's 100k, but blood can still be spilt.
Christoph again, just saying, fuck it, I'm in the mixer too. This is fun, by the way, right? Like 4 guys absolutely going for it on the biggest stage. I think this is probably the most aggressive final table I've ever seen. At least like the last... It's the most aggressive 40 minutes of a final table I've ever seen, at least at this stage. Like every single player is going... I think someone asked me to say mangoes and oranges instead of apples for some reason. Bananas.
Bananas. Get the fruit in there. He's going pineapple.
The Phil Galfond in the big blind. Assume he folds, yeah.
You say Phil Galfond in the big blind?
The 10-5 off. It's the Phil Galfond.
Oh, hello. Hello. Florian with ace jack, Addamo with 2 kings.
I mean, ace,
don't need an invitation. Yeah. Artur jumping on it.
Finding the fold either.
I mean, there's 2 things that can happen here, right, Patrick? Whether he 3-bets or flats from the small.
He'll flat, I think, because like you don't want to 3-bet fold.
Oh,
okay,
no.
Interesting. But
the
Addamo's
flat would be the more interesting
back.
one, right? The flat would have been perhaps more interesting because of the Addamo squeeze, but this still has avenue, right?
This has a lot of avenue. Like Addamo's going to 4-bet non-all in to say 3 million, and then Florian may just go with it against Addamo. I mean, I wouldn't blame him, would you? Like we've just been saying, it's the most. I mean, who knows? Maybe Arthur just sends it in. Who knows? who knows? Like I don't know.
He's gone with the click, doubled the bet.
I don't see him folding. Do you?
No. The only thing that would lean you that way is obviously, as we know, okay.
Good fold.
Just the it's worth so much, these ladders. Florian seeing all this action, he's thinking, you know what? I'm not gonna get it in this way, and fair play does get away from it. Vogelsang king queen. It's going to be in trouble. Florian's got ace king. The ace king certainly be played. It's hard to catch our breath on this one, guys. What's more amazing is the fact they've been four-handed for quite a while, but they just keep going at it.
I mean, I used to watch.
But no huge clash yet.
I used to play Zoom 500 a few years ago, and you used to be able to observe the client, the biggest hands from the last hour. So if you press replay, you can see every hand, and every hand's a big hand. This is what this feels like. It's like we're just seeing the 3-bet pots. Like, every single hand's been 3-bet or 4-bet for like the last 4 bits or so. Like, it feels like we're watching the Zoom 500 highlights from the last 20 minutes.
That was amazing as well, because you just learned so much from doing that as well. It's just like, okay, he's making 100 big blind mistakes post flop. You know,
blind on blind, guys.
Give him the purple tag.
Blind on blind.
Addamo,
Addamo's going to open, right?
Yeah. Artur's going to flat. Christoph's going to shove. Yeah. No, Artur will flat and Christoph will shove, and then Artur will flicker in probably.
Yeah, I think we're going to see an all-in.
Yeah.
Vogelsang with the squeeze from the big. About 23, 24 blinds, 23 blinds, something like that, yeah. See it. And this is crippling to Artur's stack if he loses. It will be curtains for Vogelsang if he loses. Here we go. 10 high flop for Vogelsang. Gut shot on the turn for Artur. Doesn't materialize. Vogelsang up to 8.3 and basically switching stacks, these two. Artur now down to 20 blinds. The 10-9 offsuit man is the shortest stack. We continue four-handed.
Ace-10 quite interesting.
Addamo with the 9-4. Here we go. Every hand's good enough. Patrick, 2 suited cards. We'll be getting raised.
Yeah. I mean,
I just feel like Addamo's going to run away with this now. It's just going to switch through the gears, right?
How did he get his chips? He chipped down to like 6 million. Did he? What? How did he get his chips? I don't even remember. Did he? He didn't
aces versus A6. No, well, there's like 8 million in the pot.
The aces A6 hand was the big one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the big one.
He won't fold the 8-2 suited. I think we can be sure about that. The question is, does he go upstairs or not? No.
I think upstairs is a bit excessive. But we're seeing a flop.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, for some people, even seeing a flop feels a bit excessive. You know,
for sure.
We've seen it, boys and girls. Been seeing it for the last couple of days.
Could see some, yeah.
C-bet's going to take that one down, of course. Addamo gets aggressive, but that one would be a stretch even for him. 15 minutes till that free roll starts, guys. Head on over to party. He did on the ace-4-5 or hearts. This one a little different, but we can't rule it out, Patrick. I mean, that's as safe as we can get for calling a fold, but you never quite know with Addamo. He's box office, this guy. He really is. Every stream he's on, it's just class to watch. And that's not taking anything away from the rest of these guys on the table who are obviously all absolutely class themselves. It's just Addamo's the most entertaining to watch because you literally never quite know what's going to happen.
There are a few guys that come to mind, James, that we've called the action on over the last couple of years. That when we get to an FT and they have the chip lead, you just already know what to expect. Like Dvoris comes to mind, Timothy Adams comes to mind as well, Addamo. Definitely guys that are just capable of finding a gear that some players just aren't able to find, and always fun when they've got the chip lead.
Here we go. He flops second pair on the ace king 8. Vogelsang with an 8 and a club. Maybe see a little life in this pot just yet. Raging Norseman in the chat says, Patrick is the most knowledgeable caster I've seen online. I couldn't agree more, guys. We've got Patrick Leonard in the house. Mr. Best in the business himself. Calling some action, giving us his insights. And I think at this point, actually, almost being a little giddy himself, just getting to watch this final table. You're enjoying it, Patrick.
I mean, it's entertainment for sure. Like it's gold for sure. I enjoy it. I enjoy
Brandon
it.
Hodge saying, "How do we follow Patrick? Come on, Patrick, give us a little plug. Where your handles?"
I wouldn't recommend it. There's nothing interesting going on my follows. Just some boring poker stuff. But I am Pads Poker in most places. On YouTube, actually, there's some fun videos on YouTube. Pads on Poker, where I'm making fun of myself, making terrible folds against high stakes legends like Christoph.
Well,
yeah,
Christoph making 2 pair there, but yeah, check those out, guys. Pads on Poker.
Interesting spots. It's hard to have a bluff here, right? Like Queen Jack, Queen 10, Jack 10. I guess you would bluff. Big bet.
I think having the
King
deuce
twos.
in our hand means we have to call,
It's
right?
great. Maybe not have to, but definitely like more towards that direction. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Addamo loves it. He loves it.
All of a sudden, Vogelsang, for the first time in this tournament, crosses the 10 million chip mark. We've got a 3-way tie and 1 short stack. Still loads of play left in this as well. Over 200 big blinds in play. 35 entries for this $102,000 buy-in event right here on Party. 7 of the 35 got in from a satellite. Florian, one of those.
Did you see the hand yesterday with Addamo and Sam Greenwood, where Addamo bet called off the ace-4? That was a crazy one, right? 6-5 free. Do you remember that? It was like a free bet pot.
Yes.
Addamo bet the flop.
Greenwood
Greenwood
had
did
King
a
9 of
massive
diamond,
shove.
flush draw.
Not a massive shove, but like a relatively big shove, and Addamo called the ace-4. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
That was a crazy hand.
Just got ace high, mate. It's good, isn't it?
Like they were like 100 big blinds deep, I guess. He like free bet pre-flop, you know, he bet the flop and called it off. And I'm not saying it's a bad call, it's good, you know, he has like good properties, but Greenwood must be so tilted after that hand, you know. You build a big stack up in a 100k, you flop a flush draw 2 overs.
I think it was 12.5, 25k the level, and it was a 2 million all-in bet on the flop. I think it was ludicrous.
Yeah.
May have been a level later, may have been 15-30, but yeah, it was a huge amount of blinds.
I mean, again, if you think about this in like dollars, like obviously you can never say $1 is 1 chip, but that was like a roundabout $500,000 or $600,000 pot, and it was like ace-4 off, you know, like it's fine, you know, like it's good to see that he plays the exact same as he does it in a smaller stakes tournament. It's just quite magical to watch, I think, at times.
Yeah, certainly is. He is entertaining. There is no denying that. Michael Addamo has the slimmest of leads. And we got a couple of hands here. Ace-King suited for Christoph. Ace-9 suited for Artur. Something tells me we may see a clash here, Patrick.
I have something sick to tell you as well after this hand. Something funny. I have a funny piece of information to say after this hand.
All right,
oh,
well,
God.
Let's see where this goes.
I think this one goes upstairs, Demps.
Yeah.
It's in the loft, this one.
17 blinds, rips it in. Vogelsang's going to press call with Ace-King and need to fade a 9 all diamonds.
He's
done just that. The queen on the turn was joyous. Counterfeiting is out. Vogelsang takes the lead. Artur out in 4th, having had the lead 4-handed. Picks up 364k. Everyone now guaranteed over half a bar. That's right, 525 locked up. And we now proceed to a very even 3-handed match. Is it?
GG's in the chat.
Yeah, rightly so.
Yeah.
All right,
that's
come on,
unlucky
Patrick.
for
You had
sure.
an amusing story to tell us. You had some info.
It's quite sad to say it now because he busted, but my friend showed me a picture of Artur. He was playing a $200 30k guaranteed at the same time as this final table. You know, like that started at like 5 p.m. It's crazy, you know. Red Shrimp. Yeah, he was. Yeah, it's crazy, you know. Yeah, like his stack's worth, you know, like 6 million or whatever. It's pretty. It's just yeah. It started like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. or whatever the other tournament. I guess he just played like a full schedule, which is pretty gangster, you know. Pretty crazy.
I mean, how?
He just loves it. He loves the game.
He does love the game, honestly. This is a dangerous board, by the way.
Draws galore. Opening it for Christoph. Flush draw for Florian.
Punter.
Wow. Guys, quickly press the follow button on Twitch if you're not already following. We're doing a draw in about 7 minutes, giving away 10 of those Daily Legend tickets. All you have to do is click follow, and you'll be eligible to win one of them.
Nice check by Christoph. We spoke about this earlier. I think somebody raised and the board was Jack 9x, and we said it made sense to check a lot. I think it was Artur, actually. Quite an interesting bet from Florian. You don't really want to get check raised. You know, it might be a hand you want to check back sometimes because you're going to get check raised against strong hands, have to be in a pretty tough spot. Now what does he do? Does he barrel it off or check it back?
I mean, the give up and 10 high winning would be amusing, but I assume someone's going to bluff this at some point.
Yeah, 10 high will bluff the river after check turn, I guess. Well, 10-9 has showdown blind versus blind. Like, you beat 6-7, 9-7, 6-4.
Yeah. Right, it's not impossible, right?
7-3 of clubs. Like, Florian shouldn't be betting like king high on the flop or ace high on the flop. So 10 high actually has like a weird amount of showdown here. Because he doesn't have king queen randomly betting the flop, you know?
Well, we're not going to see it. 1.4 million the bet from Florian. 2/3 pot.
I don't think he will fold the turn. I don't know, maybe he will, but he beats all the draws, right? He has equity against Jack.
Christoph.
Yeah, like, it seems. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Well,
you beat
guys.
He beat everything. I don't know.
He does let it go. Myself, Henry, and Patrick are heading off for a 5-minute break. Please don't go too far. This action is fast and furious. We don't want you missing any of it. And the free roll starts in 5 minutes. Check it out on Party. All right, guys. We'll see you in 5 minutes' time. Ace, king, 4. There's checks. Expect Alex to check back. Do you think he'll bet here? He's going to bet.
I think he'll bet 13. Oh,
You can't say it once you've seen it, Luda. Come on.
What's wrong with that?
Come on. Everyone knows you're a genius already.
Okay.
You don't have to fudge it.
Just a call. Turn card. 10 of diamonds would have been nice. I fully expect us to go check.
Does check through.
That's what you call the nuts.
70 million chips in the pot.
Almost checked it.
Interesting check here, Ludo. I guess he has quite a lot of 10x. Right, he can check all his gut shots on the flop. Makes a pair. So you're going to want to check the nuts to protect that, and also, you know, you are going to list some bluffs here, aren't you?
This one here is interesting because he's trying to get like a king to fold, but that doesn't make much sense. So like he's trying to get some sort of flush draw or straight draw that got there with a 10 to fold.
Right, there's some, a lot of 10x here.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one. Or maybe he thinks it's like a merge where he gets him to call with some sort of 4. I don't know, I'm saying like it's quite interesting. I think I like to just check the pocket 8s here. You've still got some showdown, and you've not really got a good hand to bluff with.
Yeah, obviously you have a diamond, which isn't block some of those missed draws as well. Yeah, this is. I think I would just be checking this back, Ludo. Just
Yeah, you still beat like a 4, and also like let's say that he has 4-5 or something, he can maybe turn that into a bluff.
Right, yeah.
Or let's say he has like 10 jack or like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he's got a
I'm
hand,
saying like he could maybe turn
10
that
jack
into a
or
bluff.
queen 10, now he could bluff with these hands.
No, I'm not too sure because that might. I'm not sure. They might have a bit too much showdown value as well. Because why wouldn't they just bet an ace again on the turn? So like, a king here's in a good position. So like, he's not really betting 46 million to get a king to fold.
No, and
This is an easy call with a
king.
king.
Might well have led as well. The river himself, right? Of course, does move all in.
Now obviously, like this isn't a good hand to call with because you're blocking like 8-10 of diamonds, all these type of hands.
Right.
That you want him to. Obviously, you don't want him to have because he beats you with a pair of 10s. But the way the hand's played, it's pretty messy. It's a messy hand, heads up here. Like the way this hand's went, you don't get to see hands like this that often. So it's like hard to like kind of commentate and be quite precise in certain departments because.
Right. Obviously, the value hands he reps are
it's just
basically queen jack.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Well, Foxy's obviously thinking about it
Deuce
here.
5, I suppose, as well.
He must be thinking he might have 4-5 that he's turning into a bluff.
Or as you say, 10 jack,
Jack
queen 10 maybe.
Jack 4 of diamonds, queen 4 of diamonds.
Right.
Like something that doesn't need to bluff the river because it's
queen,
got showdown.
Queen 3, jack 3 of diamonds as well.
Yeah. So like, okay, so we've got like, we could say like he's got showdown with like jack 4 of diamonds, jack 3 of diamonds, queen 3 of diamonds, queen 4 of diamonds, diamonds, the 4-5, all the type of hands. There's more combos of those than there is of the jack queen. So that's maybe where he's getting himself levelled in his head.
I suppose there's not. Well, he has called. Ludo, he
has
has called.
And
that
is
the nuts
insane.
gets tabled, and that's it. Welcome back, one and all, to this, the mega high roller final table. Myself, Henry, and Patrick calling the action, and let's waste no more time. Get back into it, three-handed, as we are playing for $1.3 million up top. But you wouldn't think that, Patrick, the way this has been going. They've been throwing it around a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit splashy,
Throwing it
but
That's one way of
I'm in
putting
the
it,
free roll
Dempsey.
now. You guys are in the free roll already, James? Or?
Yeah, the free roll is off. If you're wondering what free roll this is and you've just joined us, please do head on over to Party Poker. There is the Patrick Leonard free roll. WPT 500 seat, $1,000 in cash, and a bounty on Patrick's head. Some of the things that you can win. The password is Pads Rock. You can see at the top of the screen there. Come get in the mix. Me and Patrick are there. Henry, unfortunately, is like some of you in a nation where you can't play online on Party, so he has to sit that one out. But if you are able to play, please do join us.
It's quite a loose open from Addamo, 7-6 off on the button. Last hand. I mean, not loose by Addamo standards, but like loose by most people's, I think.
Gonna catch up with some of you in the chat manager saying, is there a bounty on Dempsey? I didn't put a bounty on Dempsey this time, man. We want him to actually be able to win a seat. I don't want you guys gunning for him. I'm not saying soft play against him, but he needs a little bit of help. And me putting a bounty on his head, you know, it's just going to make things really difficult for him. And he's been saying,
who
boys
makes
and girls, that
the
he's going to. He's for what?
Who's in charge? Is it you or Dempsey for this tournament?
What?
Who? You said you didn't put the bounty on Dempsey's head, but did you make the structure of the tournament or not? Like the blind structure?
Oh no, I didn't make the blind structure for this.
Okay. Because I was gonna. It's 200 big blinds deep, but I think people want to gamble a little bit. We should make it maybe 20 big blinds deep.
Oh, there's plenty of times to gamble. Don't worry about that. 5-minute blinds, Patrick. You'll be there fast enough.
Oh, someone just limped under the gun, Dempsey. Does this mean they only have aces, right? He's from Republic of Belarus, and he limped under the gun. Do I?
Well, Patrick,
I've got jacks.
But
I'm scared. You told me it's always aces.
Yeah, but you've got bounty on your head, so they're always going to limp when you're still to act. I have to tell you that.
Yeah.
Come on, they want to be in all the pots you're in.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make.
I'm loving that.
Jacks.
I'm on a table here with our one of our regulars in the chat, Martirosian, just check raised me and showed me the bluff, which is a bit cheeky, Henry. That's why they were asking about any bounty on my head, which comes after me. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, Brandon asking who wears the pants.
Henry.
James Dempsey does. James Dempsey does. Tezza said, Henry, do you get static shocks every time you open doors and touch elevator buttons in Vegas? All the time, my man. Even when I grab my chair at the poker table to just give myself a bit of room when I come back from a break,
Guys,
just get zapped by the chair and everything.
double check back here from Addamo on this 7-7-10-9 board. And we're seeing a change of gear.
Do you reckon 10-9 makes sense on the turn? Wow, ace 5. He's bluffing.
Okay, this is where we check back.
Yeah, interesting. He bluffs hands. His ace high is so strong. It chops with all the other ace highs, ace 8, ace 6, etc. That's big bluff.
Guys, of course, it's not just the free roll. We're giving away money for fun. The draw's been done for the $11 tickets, and I'm going to read out the first few of these, and God help me with the second one. Let's see if this hand's going to develop. No, okay. So if you hear your Twitch name, you just won an $11 ticket. They are Showing the Nuts, Laj Konik, Shej 99, Ty the Goat 6, the Bazza 94. If you just heard your name, you have won an $11 ticket. All you have to do is sit back and relax. Someone will be in contact with you. If you don't have a Party Poker account, a real money Party Poker account yet, please do go ahead and make one now so we can credit your account. There are the names in the chat. That's the first 5, but you guys know we do 10. So, whilst this hand isn't going to materialize, we'll go for the other 5. They are Ruru Zab, Virtuous DNO 4444, El Screw Hub 3, Astawin 77, and Tommy Tsunamis. So if you're one of those 5 as well, you have also won one of those $11 tickets. Congratulations and best of luck. Those names also now in the chat. All right, Henry, I got through those ones without too much trouble.
You did it, mate. Huge success. You pulled it off.
I thought this hand wasn't going to develop, but Addamo can't help himself, having a little stab on the turn. There's Queen High into Vogelsang's pair of jacks.
Hey, Egyptian in the chat saying you didn't give me my $11 ticket. Nah, not today, mate.
Jesus, I just made a mistake.
You guys sound like you're just having a world of fun in this free roll.
No.
And I'm just sat here.
Someone sent me a message in a different group chat saying calling someone a fat pig who couldn't score in a brothel, a football player. It's like a football joke. And then I went to post it into a different, the screenshot into a different chat group. But I posted it into the Party Poker Super High Roller feedback chat with like Mikita, Sam Greenwood, Ike. And they must be thinking, oh my goodness, this guy's an idiot. And I was like,
Well, I just got the double, Henry, in the free roll. I got the double. We got it in with a pair and a flush draw against top pair. Spike the river. That's what I do. I'm coming for your pads.
Yeah, I called off with a very bad hand on the river. It's not going so well here. I told them I had pocket jacks, but I was bluffing. I had ace deuce, and then the board come ace high, so I convinced myself he was trying to bluff me. He wasn't.
Man like Dan says, how do I play? You head on over to Party Poker. You look at the free rolls. You'll see one called the Patrick Leonard free roll. You enter the password, which is pads rock, and you are in action. You guys still have 50 minutes to register for this. We've got 1 hour late reg on it. So plenty of time if you're not got in there yet.
I'm all in for the bounty if I need to say screen name. I've got ace jack against kings, nines, and deuces.
Oh, he's getting there. He's getting there.
No, I didn't get there. Didn't get there.
Ooh.
Rebuy. $1 to rebuy. Hate to see it.
I see like the mouse in the chat saying, do you really give it to one of all the followers? It's pretty unlikely to win. There's so many followers. It is weighted to more recent followers, guys. I don't know exactly how they do it, but it's worth following. You're going to have a chance of winning one of those tickets. But it's free to try anyway, so click follow. Hey, if you think this is the worst stream of all time, click follow. As soon as it finishes, unfollow us. What difference does it make? It takes a few seconds. But the free roll, you can certainly get in and have some fun with cash prizes and the 500 WPTC up top.
Could see some action.
All right. Oh, I'm just going to talk to Manolution in the chat here because they've just jammed for 20 times pot on the 8-5-4 flop against me. I happen to have a set of fives and I am slow rolling. Just get this couple of seconds. And there we go.
Okay.
Oh, they turned out 10.
Oh, he just deserves to get there against you, surely.
Well, it was 8-5-4 rainbow and Manolution had 10-8. So it was almost drawing dead, but the 4 on the turn gave him a couple of outs.
Florian is not messing about. Florian is going for it. Queen 7. What would you do with fours here? It feels like a tough spot. It's like fold. Nice.
He just needs to go.
Florian's been really active, really aggro throughout.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, Patrick, coming in here off this satellite, not being used to playing for this much money, is almost like I would look at this final table. I look at the payouts and go, right, my benchmark, 525. I've got $500,000. I'll put the $500,000 into something. I'll carry on with 25k to spin playing some other stuff. I don't know. That seems like a pretty nice number to get to and think, right, okay, now I'm going to roll the dice a little bit more. But having said that, he's played very well and very aggressively throughout. So maybe there's no real change.
Yeah, I'd probably sell like 80% of my action at like 0.98 markup, so it's like profitable, whatever, and then lock up 600k that way, and still have a free roll for the other 800k or so. But maybe that's very nitty and boring of me. I'm not sure. Responsible, but nitty and boring.
It's not the dream we're selling, Patrick. Come on, let's go old school.
I think, locking up you'd still be playing for like the biggest score of all time anyway for the other percentage,
No, I'm with you.
So wait, you'd sell what? 80%? Okay, yeah.
Have your stack?
I don't know.
If your stack is worth one, his stack at the start of the day was worth like 1.1. Remember, he had 17 million. Like they're free-handed now. The chip leader's got 13. He had 17 million at the start of the day. Like that's such a big stack, I think it's think it's quite a nice way to
So
do it.
what do you think his stack was worth? Like how would you break that down?
The way they do the model, I think it's called like ASJ, like adjusted stack judgment or something like that. I think that's where like, I mean, we don't mind saying it, right? GG have like a model they have on their client for like day freeze and stuff, where you can do it that way. I think it's called ASJ, and then you put a markup on that or whatever. But yeah, there's also just the ICM value, right? Like if you went into an ICM calculator and put all the stacks in, it would tell you what your stack would be worth, and then you would just sell like a proportion of it for the percentage. You know, like I think ICMcalculator.com or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Dara and Addamo did a pretty good video on adjusted stack MU. I think I can't remember the term, same as you, but I'm fairly sure they did a video on how to do that as well. So pretty simple the way they broke it down.
I don't like all that stuff. Let's just roll the dice.
Like that, Pats. That's it, exactly, Demps. You know, you roll a 7, dealer takes all your money. Yeah, GG's.
I think it's actually,
you press on the 8 and the 6.
Quite interesting. Like how many people have like stocks and stuff in the world versus how many people, you know, play roulette. I think more people probably have investments in the world than gamble, right? So probably more people can understand that than are interested via gambling, I think. And I think the poker community does that in an interesting way where they really want to try to attract the gamblers. But if you attract the gamblers, you know, they're going to go broke very quickly and not stay around. But if you attract a maybe more sensible kind of person, their $50 deposit's going to last a lot longer than someone who's a degenerate. If a degenerate deposits $50, that $50 is gone in like 2 minutes. The site doesn't get much money of it. Just the regs get the money, you know? But if you're someone who's like a little bit more careful and you deposit $50, it stays for longer. The site gets more rake. The regs don't just swallow you up. So I actually think, I know there's this whole like taboo of not trying to market towards like, you know, like careful people, but maybe it's better to market to those people. Addamo V7
he loves it, doesn't he?
Addamo's fighting for the other side, you know? He's trying to attract the wild guys.
Yeah. He and Christoph with those leads are playing 100, 200. Florian's got 40 bigs as the shortest stack. There's a lot of legs in this one. We can see a lot of things happen. But it's not going to be a grind fest. That's one thing we know for sure. Because Addamo goes hard. Florian's going hard. Christopher's done it right, guys. I mean, he got the double up, of course, with ace 10. But other than that, he's kind of kept his nose out of trouble and worked his way up to this stack. Really being the most cautious of the 3 up until now.
Yeah, he's taking his spots. Obviously, it helps when Artur was just blasting into him in some of the bigger spots. Yeah, took the ace-6 suited. Pretty gangster. Against Addamo was then 4 of 4, was 5 of 5. I mean, I think he was 6 of 6 at some point as well. So to see him here, 3 left, tied first, is impressive. Definitely impressive.
He took the ace, the king 6 offsuit as well, which we didn't really make a big deal out of, but it's nice against Addamo, you know. He free bet it pre-flop and got the fold. I think Christoph gets maybe like not enough respect potentially is what he deserves. Like he's obviously like an amazing player, but I feel like he's not spoke about as often as he maybe should be about like the greats, you know, like the modern greats. If you remember when Super High Rollers came about like 5 years ago, he was one of the first regs who showed up in them. People were actually saying, who's this Christoph guy, this German guy who lives in England? I think he was studying economics at UCL or something. And since then, he's basically been around for like 7 years. He's been probably the longest. At the time, there was like Phil Grusom, Igor Kurganov, a few guys like that, and Christoph.
He's been around the longest of that group for sure, yeah.
He's the only one who's really evolved and stayed current all the time and constantly stayed at the highest stakes, you know? So like, I feel like he gets slept on a little bit here. By the way, this is some big stuff happening here.
And Patrick, we look at his biggest cashes, and you go back. It's like 2014 one drop $1 million buy, and there he was in the mix. 2017 wins a Super High Roller Bowl in Vegas. Those two worth $5 million and $6 million each. And then last year, the million Sochi picking up 2.4 million. So like you say, I mean, that's a long time to be around this elite, highest buy-in level. It was 7 years ago he made that final table at the WSOP big one for one drop. That's a long time, Patrick, to not be found out at this level. You've got to be doing it right. And like you say, a lot of those around that time, they're not around anymore.
100%, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
a lot of them
he played
have segued into other things, though, right? But Vogelsang is just loves the game.
His first final table was in 2013. It was a 50,000 high roller in the UK. And to be fair, Tim Adams was on that final table too. You know, so Tim Adams also someone who's been around for a long, long time. So just give him a little bit of credit too. But like Antonius was there, David Benefield. I'm not sure if you guys remember him. Raptor, he was there.
Yeah,
Martin Finger, Tobias Reichelmer, Bill Perkins. So it's quite interesting looking back at some of these final tables.
Mm.
But yeah,
Christoph.
I think it's nice that. I think Christoph is obviously one of the best players in the world, but he doesn't necessarily get put into that bracket by like the general poker population. Maybe because he's not active on social medias, or he doesn't do interviews, or whatever it may be. That he gets slept on a little bit, which I think he's quite happy about. He seems to like to do his own thing, which is great. I just feel like maybe he deserves a little bit more credit than what he gets.
I think some of the inner circles. Like people that I've spoken to, I've never heard of Vogelsang being slept on. I recall some of the German guys just talking about the way that he approaches poker and the way that he thinks about poker just very fluently. It is kind of pretty well known. I want to say Ike actually mentioned Vogelsang when it came to potentially listing some of the top guys in these high rollers. I could be completely wrong, but I'm fairly sure Ike brought up Christoph's name, and I think he's very, very well respected by the high stakes online community, at least from like the circles that I've been speaking with.
I think especially in the German community, because he hangs around with them. You know, they have a football team, they play in Vegas, all this kind of stuff. They're very close together. Yeah. Whereas he doesn't necessarily go on like Joe Ingram's podcast and like speak a bunch of stuff like a lot of other people do, you know. So I just wanted to just say again how great he is and how impressive his career has been, you know. Like there's not really a Hall of Fame for online poker or like poker in general, apart from the World Series, which is maybe a little bit flawed, but I think he's definitely a candidate for being like Hall of Fame kind of guy, you know.
Well, 7 years playing the biggest events in the world certainly qualifies you in my eyes. But yeah, and I almost feel, Patrick, I'm not fully into the poker world as much as you two are, and I can watch a lot of stuff from afar. Obviously, I can't not be involved with the amount of poker events I'm at, but it seems to me as well that Christoph was kind of made into a little bit of a villain for a while, which I think maybe people associate his name with that rather than the fact of how good he is at poker. And for those who don't know, it was through no fault of his own. It was the scarf kind of covering his face, trying to give tells away, and it seemed like for whatever reason he became a target because of that. And secondly was being slow, and those two things are like, he wasn't the only person doing those things. It's just for some reason he became the poster boy for what was a crusade against this kind of stuff. And I think that probably hurts because people associate him with that because that's what everyone talks about, rather than the fact he's smashing it up at the highest stakes all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's definitely true. Definitely true.
Yeah, and I see someone making a joke. No thought was on. Yeah, the slowness thing is an issue, and that's something that I think it's fair to get in. But the scarf thing, he wasn't the first person to do that. It was nothing against the rules or anything. People just went on a crusade against it, and he was singled out. Yes, I agree. He should get a little bit of flack for the time taken in decisions, but that doesn't take away with the fact that he's as good as he is.
Oh, well, Bradley coming in saying Vogelsang's first hand and mob result was a 50k buy-in. Nothing compared to James Dempsey's first cash in the Blackpool Bonanza. Amen, brother. Baby. The £5 rebuy. You know it. This could go in, boys. 35 effective. Florian limping from the small, which has been his overall approach.
With the dynamic too.
Clashes. Yeah. And he went for the limp 3-bet from the small
1.8
about
million.
2 orbits ago.
1.8 million. And actually last orbit, Addamo raised him on a flop bet as well, so like more aggression, yeah. Ace 10 again, a weird one. You know, like he's probably not inducing Ace 9. He's never folding Ace Jack. You dominate any kind of bluff like Ace Deuce off and that kind of stuff. But typically, you see people just shoving these spots. Oh,
wow.
he calls, yeah. No, I think this is really good.
Well.
I think this is really good. I think most people just go broke there, but I think calling is really nice.
Well, he's probably going to go broke anyway because this one's come Ace 9-8 Rainbow.
Yeah. Well, he can beat value too. Like Florian should free bet, like limp free bet, like Ace 5 off and Ace 6 off and stuff. I guess we're gonna see a call. Raising would seem strange-ish. Okay.
Well, an undercard on the turn. The 4th suit arriving. There's a few ways out of this for Addamo.
Weird spot here. Do you just shove? Like, it's kind of a weird one, right?
Yeah, I
You're
was just
probably going
thinking
to
about
check
sizing.
A6. Check, maybe? 0? Wow.
Okay.
Wow, we do.
That's
analyze it.
1.6.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, what does Addamo do here?
Just calls.
Is it always just a call? Like, is there any value in raising here, Patrick, at all?
He has some hands like 7-8 suited or like pocket 7s or something like that, which can call too. I think he'll just call. Yeah. You want to keep in. You want to keep in like king 6 offsuit. You know. You want to give that chance to bluff.
And 8 on the river, not really changing too much here. Florian always going to jam. Addamo always going to call. And we're going to have a new chip leader.
It's not thrilling for Addamo now, right? Like, what are you beating? He's not shoving A6. Yeah. It's not thrilling, but you obviously have a really good hand.
Florian back to the lead. And as Patrick says, though, he still has fewer chips than he started the final 6 with. Amazing as
That's
that
crazy.
was. His lead was 17 million chips coming in, but he's back in the driver's seat and straight back on it here with the King 7 offsuit on the button. Addamo, now the short stack. Even more reason to buckle up.
He seems to have King 7 on the button every hand. I don't know. I've seen this like 5 times from him tonight, having King 7. Is that just me? Am I making that up? Or it's like he's doing like a GTO trainer.
Jeff
replaying the spot all the time.
Jeff Gross has the Ace-Queen spreadsheet. Patrick Leonard's got the King 7 off spreadsheet. I like it.
Yeah.
He's tracking this stuff. Kings and 7s are hot today.
I'm watching you, Rob Young. Party poker. Oh, talking of Rob Young.
Oi, oi. Subtle brag. Someone got off a Discord message.
No.
Dempsey loves
No,
it. Dempsey loves
He's
it.
got Rob Young on his free roll table. That's what it is, guys. Get involved in the free roll if you're not already in. Head on over to Party. It is the Patrick Leonard free roll. Password is Pads Rock. We're giving out a WPT 500C, 1K in cash, and some bounties if you knock out Patrick. But, Patrick, you're making noises because Florian's flopped the nuts. Christoph's flopped top pair. Blind on blind.
Yeah, interesting spot. Interesting raise from King 10. You know, usually be maybe a little bit more polarized because you don't want to get limp raised and like be in a tough spot with King 10. But I guess he just thinks with the stack distribution, he's not going to get limp raised very often. Goes for a small bit on the flop, which again is quite interesting. You could start checking a hand like Queen 5 offsuit or Jack 7 offsuit or whatever. So you could be a bit bigger and more polar on the flop. So kind of interesting he goes small, especially unblocking all the pairs. Christoph's obviously going to just call. Good card for Christoph.
Yeah, very much so. Nearly Cruising asking about, are these guys too big time kind of to make a deal? Well, I mean, I'll simply say you might see a deal, but I think this particular makeup of who we got in the mix, probably a little less likely. I don't know, Patrick. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree.
We might see a deal. We might see a deal heads up, but I'm not sure. I think that Ike and Addamo didn't deal heads up in the last 100k. Actually, I'm not trying to like throw it in or whatever, but in my course with Kevin Rabichar, we do like a review of Addamo versus Ike heads up in the 100k, and I believe they didn't deal. So I imagine Addamo, if Addamo doesn't deal with Ike, it's probably just he just isn't a dealer kind of thing, you know. That's just what I assume. Or maybe Ike didn't deal, whatever, you know, who knows, but I assume they're just going to play it out. Christoph actually has the most experience from a cash game background. Christoph plays cash games, you know, high stakes still. He plays like, I saw him playing like, I think 10k now recently. So he also has a lot of background from the cash side. That's what his background in poker was, playing cash games.
In too deep, LA said play it out, way more pure. Dempsey will agree with that one, mate. Loves it.
Yeah,
and Florian back up to over 18 mil.
Yeah, he gets paid off. Got half the chips in play. Wow. Come on, Florian.
King 7 on the button every hand, guys. Watch out for it. Watch out for it.
We're living in a sim, mate. Living in a sim.
Back to 17 million, by the way.
Say again, sorry?
I'm saying Florian's back to his initial stack now.
Yeah. Half of the chips in play. The biggest lead we've seen three-handed so far. It's in a good spot. 5.25 for third. 8 something for second. There's 8.05. There we go. First prize, 1.3 milli.
Oh, God. Addamo with aces is a dangerous combination.
Yeah. Vogel with queen 9. But look at this. Jumping on it for him is Florian. And we saw a lot yesterday. Henry, Florian opening, Addamo 3-betting from the small, and Florian peeling. I expect Addamo just going to keep, obviously, 3-betting, setting a 3-bet with aces. But there is a dynamic already established, albeit it was last night.
Yeah, could have had the Christoph involvement there. Florian not open button, but you know.
Are Brighton going to get relegated, James, or Newcastle? What do you think?
Well, Newcastle before Brighton. Newcastle will be my favourites to go down, I think. They've just been so poor for too long, my man. I'm sorry to say it to you. I'm sorry.
No, I like Brighton, actually. I think they play good. Just need a striker.
Yeah.
Should sign Andy
Need
Carroll.
a finisher.
Yeah.
Need a finisher. That's what we need.
You know, Dwight Gale would actually be quite good for you.
We just need someone who was. We have so many shots, so few goals. Yeah. How's things going, actually, Patrick? Whilst this hand goes down with Newcastle Independent, man. I guess not a lot's going on right now, right? Is it all just kind of locked down?
Just haven't been able to play. It's quite unfortunate because we were like guaranteed to win the league, and now the season's been null and void. So it's like a year behind of our progress now because we have to play the season again. So it's kind of annoying.
And for those quickly, Patrick, for who don't know what we're talking about, you're involved in a non-league football team, right? Called Newcastle Independent.
Based in Newcastle, yeah. Not a non-league team, yeah. Exactly.
And you've got what's the YouTube channel for it again? Because it's a fun watch for those who are curious.
Just Newcastle Independent, yeah. We just actually have it. We've just signed up to have an under 23s team, and they're called the Cabritos, Newcastle Cabritos.
Cabrito. I was enjoying those.
Cabrito in Spanish
is shooting the stuff, you guys.
He used to do a lot of it. He doesn't do as much anymore, but he's still involved. He's part of the family. Yeah, he's a good guy. Very good guy.
Loves his crypto as
well.
I
was enjoying watching those videos, man. I look forward to you guys being able to get back in and playing.
Yeah, so it's been frustrating. Looks like Juventus are going to go to penalties in the Champions League.
Yeah, well, I had a very, very unfortunate sweat going on, Patrick, during regular time because I laid the Dortmund Juve -1 double, and I was looking good, and then suddenly Juve it was 1-0 down. Next thing it's 2-1 up, and they're playing against 10 men. So I had a very nervy half an hour there, sweating that because Dortmund got the job done. So I was quite happy to see that one go to extra time.
This could be somewhat interesting. I guess Christoph will do a lot of checking on turn. I mean, Addamo could check raise. Top 2 pair often plays as a check raise.
But it's Addamo.
Right. Yeah, I think he will check raise A7.
I'm with you.
Check call Ace5, check raise A7. Yeah, and Christoph's not going to be able to fold flop or turn. Having the 4 is a little bit problematic. Blocking 4-3 for the double gut shot, blocking 4-6 for the open ender. That's one bad thing about your hand in terms of the later streets. Okay, well,
boy,
good game. Well, is it?
Wow,
yeah,
I was about to say, if it comes to 4, what would we see? These two even in chips. Look at this. Bar something weird happening. It's going to be Addamo heads up with Florian. Kind of what we'd expect if you're watching last night, but let's see. You never know. There are some scare cards here. And there are still 4s in the deck, guys. Still possible. Florian's just wishing he was in there as well. He could just end the tournament right now with his deuce tray for the wheel.
Yeah, there's some river cards that could obviously save Christoph, but I think SPR going into the river, it's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah, you're not super thrilled about it because 6-8, 2-3 both get there. You know, A7 beats you. He doesn't check raise Ace5 on the flop. He could have pocket 5s, but you got 2 pair against the Addamo. It's just going to be so difficult. I mean, if the rivers are... he shoves.
Yeah, he just jams.
He just goes for it. He goes for it. Adamo's going to press call. We've got an 18 million chip pot. Addamo holds up. Vogelsang out in 3rd place for 525,000. And there you go. We do have it heads up. Michael against Florian. The match that everyone wanted to see. Or at least I wanted to see. I don't care what the rest of you wanted. This is the game I wanted to see. They were butting heads last night. It's only fitting they played out for the title. 1.3 million for first. 800k for second. We're playing for $500,000, guys.
That's crazy.
GG's to Christoph, obviously. Sick run and well played as well. I mean, he was 7 of 7 yesterday.
Right
at some point. So
yeah, he was in the fold out, wasn't he, Henry?
He was.
GG to the legends.
Indeed.
This could get
Addamo's
big.
Sizing up here. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
10.
Like, check
oh
out
wow,
like
2 pair for
6.
Florian.
Wow.
The genius card in the deck for Addamo, the 5 of clubs, has rolled off. First hand of heads up. We're going to see a big pot, guys.
Addamo plays big pots with big hands too.
He does, yeah. But the SPR's like 7, boys. Is this really going all in?
He'll overbet turn for like 3.2 million.
He makes it like 4? Like B150 makes sense here, right?
Unblocking pairs, unblocking straights.
We're not going all in here.
He's all in.
B125, man. This is ridiculous.
He plays big pots.
First hands of heads up. 85 bigs effective.
Could Florian?
There's
no point of shoving. He's not shoving, I don't think. He'll just call. Oh, it's over.
On the end.
It's over. Addamo's all in.
It's not over.
I agree with Patrick. I think it's GG's.
It's over.
The fastest 100k heads up match in the history of 100ks.
It's like the hand.
It's just B150 and it's all over.
Could Florian get away? Could he get away?
I think he can.
No.
I think we saw the same line last night and he got shown 2 pair.
He doesn't have a good bluff catch. He doesn't have a good bluff catcher. Like, Addamo's representing flushes and straights with this huge bets. He's not representing like even other 2 pairs beat him, but he doesn't have a good bluff catcher. Like a hand like Queen Jack with the Jack of clubs might even be better, or like Queen 9 with the 9 of clubs.
Well, he's putting him to the sword.
Yeah,
get away.
$500,000 on the line.
Is this tournament going to be over? Yeah. Half
This is
$1
sick.
million
Can't say I blame
difference.
him.
The first
Oh,
heads
he
up.
calls.
He's called.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Oh,
Nice.
damn.
One hand of
Sick.
heads up. Michael Addamo does it again. Millions online. Mega high roller champion. Wow.
Well.
Wow.
Well.
Henry.
Well,
What have we
that
just
was
seen?
pretty quick, boys. That was pretty quick. We had like 250 bigs in play, three-handed, and then 2 hands later, we're crowning a champion for 1.3
Addamo
mil.
is a sicko, an absolute sicko.
He
What a
loves
legend.
playing big
Wow.
pots as well. Pad's
He's the
called it.
king of big pots. He's the king. By the way, how many people get all the chips there? You know, like, I know it's like very easy to say, oh, he
Right.
coolers him, flush against 2 pair. But Addamo does get the big pots when he needs to get the big pots, you know? Like,
Yep.
not everyone stacks him there. Like, a lot of people bet like half pot on the turn or 2/3 on the turn and then 2/3 on the river. Adamo's like, fuck it, I'm getting all the chips, you know? Very impressive, I think.
It's very, very impressive. You're not wrong. Michael Addamo, champion once more. Henry, I mean, wow. Florian, though, let's give some love to Florian. Like, came in here, got second place for $805,000 from what we believe is a 109 satellite. Henry.
It's a good spin up. It's a decent ROI, Demps. The old 109 into a huge 6-figure payday. I'm sure the 2-pair hero call obviously might struggle to sleep tonight, but when the 800k hits the bank balance, things will probably, I'm assuming, feel a lot better.
He also is going to
Yeah.
get some good rake back on Friday too, right?
That's it, mate. That's it. for Regin, the 100k.
Yeah, I mean, you must get like, I don't know, $1,000 back or something. It's nice.
Yeah, there we go,
There we
mate.
go.
There we go.
A little bonus. Well, guys, as quick as that, 3-handed to over in 2 hands. Unfortunately, that is it for the millions online this time round. Just thanks so much again to Patrick coming in. Man, Patrick, you come in here. The crowd literally go wild. It's great to have you in here, dropping some knowledge, playing
No,
for
good
the
to be here.
highest stakes. It's only fitting in having you here. So thanks once more. And Henry, as always, thanks, buddy, for getting us through this. Well, that is it,
Appreciate
but
it.
not for long, Henry, because you and I are back next week, the week today, in fact, for the WPT 500 final table. So, guys, not long. You got to wait. And Henry, we're going to see some different stuff that night, right? WPT 500 final table is going to be a little different to a 100k in terms of style of play, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, we've been spoiled with the intricate parts of the game tree over the last couple of days, if you will, which, as some of the chat already know, you know, when we call it the low frequency plays, also known as punting every now and then. But listen, it has to be done. And hopefully we'll see it at the WPT final tables as well.
Coded punting. All right, guys. Well, thanks once again to all of you for watching, interacting in chat. It really does make the difference, especially last night when we were deep into it, myself and Henry. Very much indebted to you guys joining in. We will see you next week. So until next time, best of luck at the tables. That's it for the Millions Online.
GG.
No.